Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk, live and direct on a Monday. And a jam-packed 3 hours of sports talk is coming your way this afternoon here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our video stream. You can watch us on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on our Facebook page at WIBW News. The gang's all here. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, and Spencer Dupuis. And in the words of Rex Hudler, Kamehameha. Let's get things going on this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. The Royals win a series for the first time in 2025. And what does Goku have to do with all of this? Plus, Kris Bubic, good? Yeah, sure seems like it. This is the most encouraging early development for the Kansas City Royals, that Kris Bubic is looking dude adjacent through his first two starts of 2025. Excellent again in a 4-1 Royals win in the rubber game of their 3-game home series against the Baltimore Orioles. Once again, the Royals do that thing that and we talked about this on Friday, avoided doing last year for the better part of last year, which was having those series losses pile on top of each other. They were able to stop their streak of lost series at 2 with a 2-1 series win over the weekend. Now 4-game series starts tonight with the Minnesota Twins in town. We'll get there and we'll hand it off to the Royals Baseball Network right when we're finished at 6 o'clock tonight. That's pregame coverage. First pitch from the K tonight at 6:40. Michael Lorenzen for the Boys in Blue. Simeon Woods Richardson for the slumping Twins, who blew a 7-1 lead and lost at home to the Astros yesterday afternoon. Lots of baseball to get to on the program today. We're going to get to some hoops. National championship game is set. If you want to hear the action tonight between Houston and Florida, you can catch the national championship game, the Westwood One broadcast, over on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country, 94.5 FM, WIBW FM. They'll have the full broadcast starting at 6 o'clock in the pregame and the tip-off from the Alamo Dome as Houston and Kelvin Sampson try to win what would be a first national championship for both parties. Florida tries to win their first since their back-to-back crowns in 06 and 07.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to say this right now. If you are rooting for Houston because they're in the Big 12 and you support another Big 12 team, you and I have brains that were made by a different God. I don't want Houston to be happy, ever. Just like I don't want, Oklahoma State or TCU or Arizona. I will never get the rooting for a conference team just because they're in the conference. And maybe I am biased, Dan, because if this was Kansas playing for a national title, you know how many people around the league would be cheering for KU? None! Not a single one of you. Don't lie. No. You would not be rooting for KU. Maybe some of you, and because I do know we have some folks, some friends of ours who tell us, you know what? I'm a K-State fan, but I'm from Kansas. I grew up in Northeast Kansas. I don't hate KU. I like some of their people. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Bob in Tulsa, who says, oh, well, I'm rooting for a Big 12 team. I'm going to root for Kansas. Wrong. Liar, Bob. No, you are not. So maybe I'm biased because of that. But I don't want Houston to be happy. I don't want Kelvin Sampson to be celebrated tonight. No, I want him to lose and be miserable because my team is miserable.
Well,
why would I want you to be happy?
Well, somebody gets to be happy.
I mean, I don't care if Todd Golden's I don't care about Todd Golden. Kind of a freak.
Todd Golden is an obnoxious sex pest. Why do you want him to be happy?
I don't want him to be happy.
Somebody's got to be happy.
Somebody has to be, yes. But I don't have to root. I'm not rooting for Todd Golden to have a great night. I'm just rooting for Kelvin Sampson to have a bad night. Although I think Houston's going to win.
I hope Houston wins. It would be a very lucrative night for your boy. Very good for the wallet if Houston wins tonight.
It comes down to team that is going to drag you into the mud and just beat you to death with rocks versus Can you stop Walter Clayton Jr.?
Walter Clayton do his ass. Yeah,
that's the matchup.
Yeah, it kind of is. That's what it comes down to for me. We'll break it down. We'll get into the Final Four matchups because I still cannot believe this game is Houston versus Florida. And I picked Houston, and I have been resolute on picking Houston. I still can't believe they won that damn basketball game on Saturday. I mean, somebody came up to me this morning and said, "Can you believe that game?" It was 2 days ago, and people are still kind of recovering from the fact that Houston rallied to win that game over Duke on Saturday. It will be Houston and Florida again. You can hear the game over on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country, tonight pregame at 6 o'clock. As we are bringing you Royals baseball here on 580 WIBW, but we will get into that a little bit later on. You've hit a nerve here, so after we finish previewing the show today, I'm going to get back to some of the comments from the text line and the YouTube here in a little bit. Also, college basketball news, Flory Bidunga, he's going to be a Jayhawk next year, just like we all thought, and then extremely did not think for about 72 hours. And then yesterday, the news broke. Flory Bidunga has elected to get out of the portal and come back to Lawrence for his sophomore season. And given that, some of the transfer portal business done over the weekend, all of a sudden, Bill Self's roster starting to take shape and looking fairly promising for 2025-26. We will get into that, as well as another transfer portal defection and an addition for Kansas State. We'll get into all of that later on in the show. It is Mock Draft Monday today. It's our first Mock Draft Monday. We are 3 Thursdays away from the 2025 NFL Draft. So for the next 3 Mondays, we're going to do some Mock Draft Monday content, taking a look at some of the mock drafts that include the Chiefs from around the internet. We got a couple of 7-round Chief mocks that we're going to look at today.
A little head-to-head Mock Draft Monday.
Quienes Mas Macho in the Kansas City Star newsroom with their 7-round mocks. Blair Kirchhoff or our pal Jesse Newell. We'll get into that later on, and we'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour today. We'll also talk some draft and other NFL stuff with Matt Verderame, our weekly guest on Mondays, our NFL insider from Sports Illustrated, SI.com. He'll join us at the bottom of this hour. Plus, all the things you've come to expect from a Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We will do our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We got a new week on what is wrong with you starting up. We'll do good, bad, ugly, and so much more. Plus, your comments. You can text the show, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also, if you're watching the show on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, which you should, if you've never done it before, why not fire up the old YouTube and watch us do the show today? See how you like it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and jump into the live chat. You can interact with not just us, but your fellow listeners as well. Really fun way to engage with the show and your fellow listeners. We love seeing your comments. A good afternoon to McFly and Paul, Joe and Tyler and Ryan and Mark H, who've all weighed in already, and those still to come into the show today here on 580 Sports Talk. You hit a nerve. You say you're not rooting for another Big 12 team just because they're a Big 12 team.
Absolutely not.
So the comment from the text line, from the 785, says, it's because we're disrespected and nobody cares about the Big 12. I'm a K-State fan, but go Houston Cougars and go Big 12. I will say this. In line with this person's comment, I understand the Big 12 rallying around the Big 12 crest more than I ever understood SEC fan rallying around the SEC banner, and any SEC success is good for the SEC because it shows how great the SEC is. I always felt like that particularly was nonsense. Plus, the SEC's been around forever. Those rivalries in the SEC have certainly been around forever. Mm-hmm. And so I can't believe for 1 second that an Auburn fan would be torqued about LSU winning a national championship, or that any Tennessee fan is going to be putting on a different shade of orange for Florida in the national championship game tonight. I think that is nonsense. I do think the Big 12 sort of has this, a bit of a underdog attitude about itself that I think if there are fans who embrace that and embrace any Big 12 success as proof that, hey, the Big 12 matters. The Big 12 belongs on the big stage. It's not just SEC and Big 10 world. We belong here. Mm-hmm. That, I think, where that's coming from, I think that resonates with me a little bit more than the SEC banner waving that people talk about.
Sure. I mean, I get where you're coming from. I just, like, I care. If I'm talking about, like, who I'm going to care about, it's KU, and then it's K-State, then it's, like, the teams that my teams don't play against every year, and then it's those teams. Like, I'm not here to, I don't know. I guess I just view it differently. I guess I get where it comes from, but I am never going to root for a conference like that because I don't feel that way. Like, I don't, sure, there's, like, disrespect, but I don't really care that Paul Feinbaum doesn't like the Big 12. Like, that does not matter to me personally. If it matters to you, that's fine. To me, doesn't mean anything to me.
Just to clarify, Christopher asked a clarifying question. Are you not rooting for Houston because they're in the Big 12, or are you actively rooting against them because they're in the Big 12?
I don't even know that I'm like, let me read the question here myself. So are you not rooting for Houston just because they're in the Big 12, or are you actively rooting against them? I am. Yeah, like, if Houston was still in the American, like, I wouldn't care. Like, sure, that doesn't bother me. But no, I don't want rivals to be happy.
Are they really your rival?
Yeah,
they've been in the conference for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
like it's not, like, again, like, you have the SEC rivalries that have been around forever and ever, and this conference got pulled together, like, in a on a Zoom call 3 years ago.
This is not like, if Texas was playing for a championship, Texas was very easily hateable, or if, when Missouri was still in the Big 12, like, if they were playing for a championship, like, no, that's obviously different. I guess I'm using some hyperbole here, but I'm not, like, rooting for Houston to win. Like, I'm not interested in, like, so, yes, Houston, hell yeah.
Maybe the kinder, gentler way to put this is, if Houston wins, your reaction is not going to be hooray for the Big 12. I'm glad this happened because it makes the Big 12 look good.
Yeah, like,
okay. And that's fine. Like, you don't care about the perception of the Big 12.
Not really. No.
Beyond your program, your favorite team, and their place in it. And I get that.
Yeah. Like,
I get that perspective, but I also get the perspective of, we're the forgotten, we're the disrespected, and any Big 12 success, if it can't be my team, it's a Big 12 team, that it further validates that we play some ball in this league.
Yeah. And, like, if they win, am I going to be mad? No. But am I, like, hoping that they win? Not really. No. I don't really feel that strongly about Florida either. I just am not going to go out of my way to say I want the Big 12 to win, because, sorry to sound super self-absorbed here, but, like, what does that do for me? What does Houston winning do for me?
Does a lot for my wallet.
Well,
I've got a rooting interest tonight.
Yes, and if I decide to place a wager on this game, I'm going to bet on Houston, because I think Houston's better than Florida. I think they match up well with Florida. I think Houston is maybe the most well-equipped team in the tournament to say, all right, Walter Clayton is just going sniper on everybody from all sorts of weird trick shot, dude perfect positions. Let's just put him in jail. Like, that's what they're going to try to do in this game, and I think it's going to work.
I think you're right. We'll get more into that game a little bit later on in the program today. Did want to start with the Kansas City Royals. How are you guys on your anime? What's your level of Dragon Ball Z knowledge?
Minimal.
Very minimal, but I do have friends that are very much into that.
I would say my knowledge is just about nil.
Yeah.
But apparently that's the Royals and Carlos Esteves' victory celebration, inspired by the character Goku from Dragon Ball Z. It was very funny hearing Rex Hudler try to explain it to Ryan Lefevre on the broadcast following the Royals 4-1 win over the Orioles last night. It looks like what was it? Was it Tekken or was it Street Fighter where they had the Hadouken? Was that Tekken or was that Street Fighter? You got to go way back for that.
That would have been Street Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter.
Ryu.
Yeah, it was the fireball.
Yeah.
So it's a similar, like, looking gesture, but it is inspired more by Dragon Ball Z that Carlos Esteves does after he locks down a save, and apparently Bobby Witt Jr. likes it. He started returning fire, so it's a whole thing. Kamehameha, and you fire the power, the power of 9,000 or something. I don't know, man. I'm a kid. Don't ask me. Not my thing. But every winning team has something goofy and quirky and fun like that, and maybe this is going to be the Royals' thing as they win their first series of the season. They win the rubber game over Baltimore on Sunday, and Kris Bubic is the reason why. 6 2/3 stellar innings, allowing just 1 run on 5 hits, only 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, 15 swinging strikes.
Joe on YouTube. Damn, I'm old.
Hey, listen, Joe, it's got nothing to do with age because we're all varying ages from late 30s to mid 20s, and neither of us are up on it either. So this is strictly not an age gap thing. This is a media consumption gap.
Yeah, this stuff was very popular when I was a kid, and I wasn't watching it.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
not my deal. Anyhow, Kris Bubic, this is my deal. Watching Kris Bubic pitch right now, it's not that he's overpowering with his fastball velocity, right? Like he's not running up there 96, 97, but his deception and his fastball movement, or what Matt Quatrero refers to as carry. And I don't have an advanced physics degree. I'm not smart enough to explain in a short amount of time what carry is. But what it does is it allows Kris Bubic's fastball to look faster than it is, essentially. That's the layman's description for why Kris Bubic is beating big league hitters repeatedly at the top of the zone with a fastball that sometimes only touches 90 miles an hour. He's also got the changeup working. Sounds like he might be working in the new in vogue pitch in Major League Baseball, the kick change. It sounds like he's got the knuckle up on one of the seams, and that's a pitch that is growing in popularity throughout Major League Baseball now, called the kick change. He's got a couple of different breaking balls that are working for him. It should not be surprising that a Stanford-educated pitcher would maybe be able to absorb and utilize some of the teaching, some of the advanced analytics, some of the advanced physics stuff behind how to improve yourself as a pitcher and put it to use. But we've got, I think, enough evidence now that Kris Bubic can get big league hitters out. And if he can be this kind of a steady presence in the Royals rotation, he's not going to carry a .71 ERA all season, but if he can work deep into games, if he can get these kinds of swings and misses and have these kinds of strikeout numbers with the good command, this guy can really be a force. And that, to me, is the most exciting thing that's happened. Like the big boppers on offense really haven't gotten going yet. I know Bobby Witt Jr. had a good day yesterday. Pasquantino had a sac fly, his first of the year. Salvi had a double. Those guys haven't really rolled yet, and the offense, the run totals bear that out. But if there's one thing through 9 games I am genuinely enthused about moving forward, it is what we're seeing from big Kris Bubic.
To use the point we've used many times before when you talk about at what point in the calendar, at what point in the schedule can you make a real judgment about what a team is, what a team could be. It's about the quarter pole of the season. It's about 40, 41 games in. So we're still a long way from that. But as you're in that almost probationary period at the beginning, while other parts of the team, notably the best bats, are still trying to figure things out. Spencer, you were on this a lot last year when the Royals got off to that really good start. You'll take wins any way you can get them, right? You'll stack wins until you can get everybody in a rhythm, right?
You can't win a pennant in April, but you can lose one if you get out to a really slow start. So winning series, winning rubber games helps you avoid digging yourself a hole.
And while I don't think Kris Bubic is going to dominate like this over the course of 32 starts this year, the initial returns are extremely encouraging. I'm looking at his info from Baseball Savant right now, and I mean, the data is it's such a small sample size, just 2 starts and what is it now, 12 2/3 innings. It's bordering on statistically insignificant, but I do think when we're talking about moving a guy who not that long ago was recovering from Tommy John surgery, from being in a bullpen role at the end of last season for 27 games, back into the starting rotation, the initial results are really impressive. I mean, the fastball velocity is in the bottom quarter in terms of average velocity around starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. And yet his breaking ball among the very best, 98th percentile, change up 90th percentile. I mean, we're talking like top 10 kind of pitches in all of baseball right now. He's not giving up hard hits. He's striking out a decent number. 16 strikeouts through 12 and 2/3. You'll take that from a guy who is expected to be your 5th starter. I mean, he's pitching right now like your 3rd starter more than anything else, but he doesn't give up hard hits. Guys aren't barreling him up. He's not walking a ton of guys so far. It's been very impressive. And while there will be, again, some regression, if there's not, he's going to win the Cy Young.
Yes.
And you've got the best pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Point blank.
So I don't think we're going to quite see that. But this is a little bit of a justification, if you will, of everything the Royals believed they had in Kris Bubic for years that never really came out because he was being jerked around from place to place and didn't know what he was doing. And then you had the injury, obviously. But this is extremely encouraging. And for all my concerns about Seth Lugo and his usage last year and the fact that he stayed so healthy at 34 with all that usage, I don't know if he can keep it up for a full season this year. Same with Michael Wacha. If you've got Kris Bubic pitching like this, that puts a whole lot less pressure on those two older guys. And I feel a lot better about what this rotation could be if those guys do end up missing some time. And God willing, they won't. But that is a risk you run with older starting pitchers.
In his last 59 innings from 2023 to now, and of course, 2023 had the 3 starts and his elbow went kablooey, and we didn't see him again until middle of last season, and then it was as a reliever. So that's why in a 3-year stretch, you're talking about 59 innings pitched, 71-10 strikeout to walk ratio, only 3 home runs allowed in those 59 innings. So the command has been elite. The home run suppression has been elite. The strikeouts have been elite. It needs to be a bigger sample size for me to say Kris Bubic is elite, but he is pitching like a guy that the Royals can depend on. Again, what that looks like as far as his workload and how much they're going to try and lean on him because it is his first year back from Tommy John, that's something only the Royals know and they haven't said, and it'll depend on how Bubic is feeling. But, yeah, you can't be anything but encouraged by that, particularly with some early difficulties for guys like Seth Lugo, who maybe hasn't been at his best just yet.
I think, too, when you look at Manager Matt Contreras said after the game, he said there gets to be a point in the season where, like, yeah, you have your number one, but the guys after that, the line just blurs, and that could be what it's going to be for the Royals this year. We're like, well, Bubic is on it this week. Maybe he doesn't have it this week, and then you get later on, maybe it's Lorenzen.
Well, you pass the baton. Like that's the thing that we talked about a lot last year. You'll remember is it passed the baton to the next guy. One guy goes out and throws a quality start. That puts not pressure, but it gets the next guy thinking, hey, I got to do the same thing. I got to go give 6 innings and give my team a chance to win. And you pass the baton down the starting rotation and back up to the first guy when it's his turn. That's what made the Royals successful last season. I think it will be the foundation of any success they have this year because they do not look like murderers row offensively. We have a text in from the 913 who says MJ is Hunter Dozier, which, man, my Melendez agenda is
rough, man.
It's on unsteady legs for sure. 2 for 20 to start the year. But yeah, the starting pitching picked them up, and the bullpen, back of the bullpen has been really, really good. Hunter Harvey looks great. Lucas Erceg is doing his thing, and Carlos Estevez has picked up a pair of saves in his first 2 save opportunities. And you can get the ball to those 3 guys in the 7th inning or later, you feel pretty good right now if you're the Royals. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do good, bad, ugly from the sports weekend that was. And Matt Verderame will join us in just a little bit to talk NFL. We're just getting started on this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Good, bad, ugly from the sports weekend that was. We will let Spencer Dupuis lead it off with his good. Spencer?
Yeah, Friday night, big game, Caps at home. Alex Ovechkin needed a hat trick to break Wayne Gretzky's record with him in attendance. He scored 2, and my sister and brother-in-law were there, and that 2 tied him with Wayne Gretzky for the most all-time in one less game. And I got the FaceTime call from my sister, and I got to celebrate with everybody in the arena. That was pretty cool.
Very cool.
And then on Sunday, he goes on national TV up in New York against the Islanders, and he breaks the record, and they pause the game for like 20 minutes. And I shed a little tear as a sports fan, because when you grow up, whatever sports are big is kind of like when you're in such an area where I was, you just grow up and they're like your sports. And hockey is one of my sports. And seeing Ovechkin from when he was drafted to now, just crazy. And I can't believe he scored as many goals as he scored. It's like 18.6% of the goals that the Caps have scored since he started playing are his.
895 all
Yes.
time, the new standard. Good for the weekend.
Hold on. I do not have any bad or ugly. So you can skip me.
Good. Oh, great. Perfect. I would imagine not after that good.
Fairly subdued good for me this weekend. A lot of family time, which was really nice. So 2 quick goods. One, KU lands Trey White out of the transfer portal. That's a piece I really wanted for KU, so that's a good addition. Flory comes back, obviously. That's a big deal. And also, I got to watch some UFL last night. My guy Connor Onion was on the call for my Battlehawks beating San Antonio.
My son turned 10 months old on Sunday. And we got to enjoy that. Now he's standing up in his crib. That might be my bad, to be honest with you. Start figuring out how to stand up in the crib. You have a bad?
I suppose that means my child also turned 4 months, because our kids are exactly 6 months apart.
Isn't that wild?
My bad is that it rained on Saturday morning, so I couldn't mow the lawn. And that's going to be very bad later this week.
Do you have an ugly?
No, not really. Kind of a subdued weekend for me.
Yeah, I woke up with a dead car battery this morning.
That's not great.
Yeah, couldn't get the kiddo to daycare. Had to have AAA come out. Shout out to AAA. The driver was very nice. Did his job. Put a new battery in. But that's not a fun cost. Why don't cars tell you, like, hey, your battery's a little low. You might want to consider getting a new one before your car just starts speaking German to you. And then I'm not even kidding, man. The language on my dashboard switched to German when I was trying to start the car this morning. And that's when I knew I had a problem. Because I do not sprechen Sie Deutsch. Except for that exact phrase. Let's take a timeout. Matt Verderame joins us next for our NFL Insider 580 Sports Talk. We're joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Matt Verderame, our NFL insider, covers the league for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Also can catch him on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network and his subscriber-only Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show. And you can hear him every Monday at this time here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, are you all the way in draft mode? Is 100% of your football brain draft mode engaged at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say now that I'm back from the league owners meetings, there's no free agency to talk about at this point, and schedule's still a little over a month away from being released. So from now until they're all done making the picks in Green Bay, yeah, it's all about the draft.
Do you have, and you've been to the combine, and I know you do the digging on this, and everybody's got, the prospect at the top of the draft that they love, but who is your guy at the bottom of some of the first round mock drafts, maybe even in the Chiefs range at number 31? Who's a guy that you think isn't getting enough, maybe recommendation, a draft crush, if you will, late in the first round, where you think whoever gets this guy in the 20s or 30s or maybe early on day 2 is going to get a stud?
There are a handful of them. For a guy like me, the Chiefs might draft, I think Walter Nolan's really good, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. And I've kind of been late to the party on him because, frankly, I've been looking at some of the other D tackles, the Kenneth Grants of the world out of Michigan, Derek Harmon out of Oregon, who, by the way, I think are good players. Like I think if a team takes them, they're going to be happy with them. But I really like Nolan. I think he makes a lot of sense. And then there are other guys. Like I think this receiver class, while not what it has been in recent years by any means, I think it's a little bit underrated. Like there are some kids out of Iowa State are good players. I think Noel could be an interesting player. You look at even Luther Burden. I think at around 30, like that guy makes a lot of sense for a lot of teams. Ibuka could be a really good player out of Ohio State. I think the receivers, because there's not that Jamar Chase in this class, the Malik Neighbors, I think they're kind of getting a little bit of a bad rap. There's not the superstar talent maybe, but I think there's a lot of guys in that late day 1, early day 2 range could be really good.
I want to go back to your point about the defensive tackles, particularly late in the first round, and that's just kind of where their value lies in the draft. So really good players at that position. I understand why you're seeing their names in the 20s and in the 30s, if at all, on some of those draft boards. But do you think that might be one of the deeper positions in this draft? Because I do. I would be stunned if Kenneth Grant were there at 31. The Chiefs should sprint to the table with his name on a draft card. I feel the same way about Walter Nolan, maybe not quite as strongly, but I like Nolan a lot too, like you said. Is that a position of real depth in this draft, particularly as it pertains to where the Chiefs right now hold their draft card?
Oh, I think there's a lot of people will tell you around the league that is the deepest position in this draft. That there is a lot of talent. Like Mason Graham is the number 1 D tackle on just about everybody's board, maybe even on everybody's board. I would argue that I don't think there's a massive gap between him and the Harmons and the Grants and the Nolans of the world. Like there are a lot of defensive tackles who make a lot of sense for teams like Kansas City that need one. I think Philadelphia might take one. God knows they take a lineman every year, it feels like, in the first round. There are a lot of guys on the interior that can play. And, look, this stuff is cyclical. The last couple of years, you look at the D tackle class, maybe a little bit down. This year, really good. Last couple of years, quarterbacks coming out like crazy. This year, quarterbacks not that good. We already talked about receivers. The running back class, last couple of years, it felt like maybe a guy here or there at the top, and not a lot. This year, I mean, if you were to argue that D tackle is not the deepest, probably running backs. That would probably be the other argument. Like it is just a bonanza. There's probably going to be legitimately 30 running backs taken in this class. I mean, it's just there's so many of them. I wouldn't be surprised if the first 3 rounds there's 8 to 10 running backs go off the board. So I do think it's D tackles, running backs, and to some degree tight end.
Matt Verderame is our guest. He covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated and SI.com. He's also the host of the Matt Verderame Show on Patreon and That Football Show at the KC Sports Network. He joins us every Monday at this time on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. And that's a perfect segue, Matt, because I wanted to ask you about this running back class. I think it pertains to the Chiefs because frankly, I think they could use a little more juice in the backfield alongside Pacheco and company coming up this year. We know Genty is going to go in the first round. And look, I think Ashton Genty is going to be a really good player. He's got the total package. Sounds like a Marion Hampton from North Carolina might sneak into the end of the first as well. Are there one or two other guys who will probably go maybe in that top 100 picks who you really like, you think could be day one starters? We've got two locally, Devin Neal at Kansas and DJ Giddens at Kansas State. I think both of those guys could make an impact right away. What's a name or two that really stands out to you from that kind of second tier of running backs?
I really like the kids out of Ohio State. Honestly, I like them both. Henderson, the big question is just health, right? He hasn't missed a ton of time, but he's been beat up throughout his college career. And that you worry about at that position, because all of a sudden you start looking at the guy who gets hurt. It's like, all right, well, that's not going to get better as he gets older and he's at the NFL level. Or is it something where you go, all right, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal, right? So we'll see. Judkins is kind of my day two draft crusher. I wouldn't take him in day one, but I think, if you look at that kid and you look at his overall body of work, he's put up video game numbers on that. I mean, that's at Ohio State. Like he's not been the guy who's been carrying the ball 300 plus times a year. Like, he's shared the rock with Henderson, and he's been awesome. I think if you're looking for a guy second round that you need to tote the rock for 250 carries next year, I think he makes an awful lot of sense.
The top of the draft, the quarterbacks this year, it's pretty obvious at this point. It seems like Cam Ward is going to go 1-1. I mean, they had a whole video crew along with the Titans folks at his pro day. It seems pretty obvious he's going 1-1. The next group of quarterbacks, how many do you think are going to make it into round one? I think most people assume Shedeur Sanders will go in the first round. Some folks really like Jackson Dart. There's a lot of talk about Tyler Shuck as well, the multi-time transfer who's 26 years old, if I remember correctly. How many guys do you think end up at pivot going in the first round?
I think it's going to be 2 to 3. Shuck, look, nothing against him personally. I would be floored if he goes in the first round. I mean, what development is left there?
Mm-hmm.
What is? I don't know. Well, you want to take him day 2 and say, hey, if we hit on him, great. But I don't see that. I would be very, very surprised. I feel like that's kind of like a, hey, it would be interesting kind of a thing, and then it takes off, and one person writes it, and another person writes it. Before you know it, the guy's going to the top 20. I think Sanders is definitely a first-round pick. The question with Sanders is, does he slide? And when you look at the board, okay, assuming Ward goes 1, I agree. I think we all expect him to. The Browns, there's a lot of talk the Browns are not going to take. That doesn't mean that it's draft season, it's line season. People say things, but there's at least a thought the Browns may not take him. If they don't, the Jets at 7 are the next team you look at and say, okay, would they take him? If they don't take him, then all of a sudden you get into a spot where the slide could really be on. I mean, the Raiders at 6, would they do it? Maybe, if they just feel like, look, Geno's a year-to-year guy, even though they gave him an extension and some of that's funny money. But he could slide. Dart feels like the kind of guy that a team trades into the first round at the end and takes him and just says, you know what? If he's good, we get a 5th-year option on him. A Teddy Bridgewater type pick. Lamar Jackson once upon a time was the guy taken with the last pick of the first round. I could see Dart going late in the first, but I don't buy into this idea that all of a sudden he's going to be a top 10 pick. I have not heard that. If a team's going to do that, they've done a good job of concealing it. I have not heard that at all, that he's going to be a top 10, 12 pick.
We had an article we broke down last week we saw from Matt Miller at ESPN, who does a great job covering the draft, has for a long time. And he said by his scouting, his grades, he's got 13 players with a first-round pick grade. Obviously, there are 32 picks, but not everybody gets graded like that, as we know around the league. From your conversations with other media members and front office folks and coaches, what seems to be the range? Like, is it like 13 is a small number? Usually we hear like 15 to 18 or so. What are you hearing is the size of the group that is a no doubt first-round pick kind of player?
Yeah, I think Matt's probably in the ballpark, somewhere between 12 and 15, which is small compared to a lot of other years. I think, most years, I feel like the number I usually end up around with the consensus is like 17 to 18. So let's say this year it's like 14. Yeah, it's a smaller group. I think that the by and large feeling on this draft, I talked to a lot of people at the owners meeting about this, a lot of GMs, a lot of coaches. The thought is this is a draft that if you're picking high, you want to trade back. You want to accumulate more picks, especially day 2. I think a lot of people feel like day 2 is the sweet spot of this draft. It's really, a lot of people tell you picks, let's say 20 through 70. There's not a massive difference in the player you're getting. I think the only 2 players most people view as just, hey, this guy is an elite prospect. Abdul Carter, edge rusher out of Penn State, Travis Hunter, obviously playing both ways at Colorado. Those are the guys. After that, I had one coach say to me, listen, other than those 2, everybody's got warts. And it's just, who do you find the prettiest? And I think that's accurate. I think most teams would feel that way. I expect a lot of teams in that 10 to 20 range, even 20 to 25, try to trade back. The question is, can they find a dance partner? Who's willing to go up? And so if you want to go up, I think you're going to have no problem doing it. I think a lot of teams are going to be able to do that. Can you go back and accumulate more picks or maybe even future picks?
We're joined by Matt Verderame here, Sports Illustrated on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. And Matt, who are a couple guys that you think could fly under the radar this draft season and then maybe make a huge impact for a team this next season?
Some of the guys I like are some of the edge rushers. I mean, Nick Scourton out of Texas A&M. He was the guy going into the year. A lot of people thought it was going to be a first-round pick. And he kind of fell out of favor. A year that was not maybe awful, but a year that was not what he was hoping for. I look at, I mentioned Ohio State earlier. I'll go back to Jack Sawyer. To me, is an interesting guy. Like, he's one of those guys who, from an NFL testing standpoint, you're not over the moon about, but when you watch him, he's just a really good football player. The guy he makes plays. And I feel like that translates more than people think it does. Like, sometimes there's just guys who just play the sport, play the game, they understand it, they're ahead of it. I'd be curious to see how he plays at the next level. And then, look, you could go in. I love Elijah Arroyo, the tight end out of Miami. I think that kid is really good. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. He was somebody who, of all the players down there, he stuck out the most. I thought he was really talented. He really almost lost 2 full years to a knee injury at Miami, but last year came back, played 13 games, played great. I think he's somebody who I would not be surprised if he's a late second, early third rounder. And we're sitting here week 6 going, man, how did that guy fall that far? There are a lot of kids, like I said, in day 2 that I think the value's there. Like, the value's maybe not there as much in round 1. I think rounds 2 and 3, maybe even 4. There's a lot of guys you go, okay, not super sexy, not quarterbacks, not these big, 4-3 running wide receivers, but guys who, when they translate into the NFL, you're like, yeah, this guy's a good player. The guy matters. I think those guys are out there. Just got to find them.
Matt Verderame covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You can also check him out on That Football Show on the KCSN, KC Sports Network, and his own subscriber-only Patreon, The Matt Verderame Show. Check him out Mondays here on 580 Sports Talk at this time. Matt, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. We will step aside for a timeout. When we come back, we will wrap up this first of 3 hours today on 580 Sports Talk. Our thanks again to Matt Verderame for joining us as he does every Monday here on 580 Sports Talk. That'll segue neatly into our first Mock Draft Monday segment. It'll be a recurring Monday. 24th, round 1 from Green Bay. Rounds 2 and 3 on Friday the 25th. The rest of the draft on Saturday the 26th.
Before the draft arrives, I've got to ask Matt, because I know he's been up there to cover, players and stories and whatnot in Green Bay before. Got to ask what his favorite haunt is up there. I will tell you this: there are not many options.
No, that is my understanding of a town the size of Green Bay, Wisconsin, is that there are but a few hangouts.
That's the funny thing, is that Green Bay is, let me see, population wise, it is not too dissimilar from Topeka. No, I do not need the football team. I need the city of Green Bay. The internet thinks they're the same thing. Population wise, 107,000 people. So a little bit smaller than Topeka.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot less to do than we have here. Or I was in Evansville, right, for a week for the Division II Elite Eight. I was actually very impressed by how much there was to do in Evansville, or places to go eat or things to see. Green Bay doesn't really have that. Green Bay has a casino, one steakhouse, and a strip club. That's where people go in Green Bay. It's called the Oval Office.
Wow.
I've never been. Don't ask.
Is that where Packers players used to go celebrate game wins?
I can probably name a few Packers from the 1990s who spent a whole lot of time there. Girls there are probably a little too old for Mark Chmura, but
yeah. Ugh. That's a sundry chapter. Anyhow,
given Brett Favre's I don't even know what word to use. What we know about Brett now
peccadillos
in the social media era, which thank God for his own sake, they didn't have that at the time. I think he spent a decent amount of time there.
Yeah, man, that might have been a shortened career for Brett Favre if he'd had Snapchat back in the playing days. Mock Draft Monday, what is wrong with you? We're talking college hoops next hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on a Monday. Hope your week is off to an outstanding start. And we thank you for spending some time with us here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And, of course, a moving picture of us doing the show is available daily.
It's a talkie.
And you can watch it on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk.
Now in Technicolor.
580 Sports Talkie. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
There you
580
go.
Sports Talk is the name of the YouTube channel. WIBW News is the name of the Facebook page. You can watch us as well. Dan Lucero, Brendan Wrzinski, Spencer Dupuy hanging out with you until 6 o'clock tonight when we'll make way for the Royals Baseball Network. Royals opening a 4-game series at home against the Twins tonight as they will try to win back-to-back games. It'd be the first time all year they've won back-to-back. I think it might be. Yeah, I think it would be.
I think so.
Yeah, first time all year. Trying to put a winning streak together for the first time.
Get to
this
500.
year. And get back to the 500 mark for the first time since they were 2-2. So that is what is at stake tonight at the K. Paul in the YouTube comments asked if the moving picture version comes with Dolby Digital 5.1 surround sound. No.
You know what it comes with? Whatever YouTube has set in there as the default.
We could play like the THX thing, that loud fanfare that used to come on. Man, that was back. You went to a movie and they did the loud THX sound at the beginning. You knew
you were in for something.
that you were in for a movie experience.
Spencer, can I get audio on computer 2, please?
You have it.
All right. Don't go too high because I don't know how loud this is going to get. Hold on. We got it? Oh, no. Okay, not working. Well, I had the THX sound, but
everybody knows. Like, all you have to say is THX sound, and everybody can hear it in their head.
Yeah.
So,
they don't do that at movies anymore.
I haven't been to a movie in so long, man.
I went in summer and saw Twisters. That's the last time.
I went at the very end of October. I saw a movie my wife really wanted to see. I remember it was the night of the KU Arkansas exhibition game for basketball. It was a good movie. Andrew Garfield was in it, and British woman. Oh, I don't remember her name. It was a pretty good movie, though. She's so popular now. Florence Pugh. That's who it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Very sad.
We Live in Time. That's what you saw?
Yeah. If you want to cry, go see that movie.
We Live
very
in Time.
Sad.
The last movie I saw was Ford versus Ferrari in the fall.
That's so long ago. I remember watching that.
Fall of 2019. It was the same night as the Maui Invitational title game when KU beat Dayton in overtime. You remember that one?
God, what a game.
It was an awesome game. And I had to get to it was the new theater here in Topeka. I guess it's the theater now. The B&B. I had just opened, and I wanted to go check it out. And Ford versus Ferrari sounded like, I went by myself. It's a guy movie, so I went and saw it by myself. But I had timed it like I was going to watch the Maui, and I was going to go to the movie. Well, the Maui game went overtime, and I don't like cutting it close, getting to the movie theater. So I'm like, come on, man, don't go double overtime on me. So thankfully, I was able to make it just in time for the start of the movie, popcorn in hand, and enjoyed it a lot. And I haven't been back to a theater since COVID.
Was it a better show than Devon and Doak versus Obi Toppin and Company?
It was faster.
Okay, fair.
It was
that God, yeah. If I remember correctly, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, that game not only went to overtime, but also just took 4 hours. It took so long.
Yeah, it was a very long game.
Yeah,
and
great game though. All timer.
We would have gotten a rematch in Atlanta in April of that year, man.
Yes, we would have.
We would have gotten a rematch. Would have been so sick. But yeah, haven't been to a movie since. It's not that I don't see movies. I just don't go.
No, I get
movies.
I mean, just wait until they come on to streaming.
You'll never guess what I watched on cable last night. I'll give you 3 guesses. I guarantee you get it.
3 guesses?
3 guesses.
You watched on cable last night?
Yes.
Is this a movie or a show?
A movie.
Okay.
Anchorman.
No. Great guess, but no.
Shawshank.
No. Dumber than both.
The Replacements.
Yes.
See, thank you for giving me that 3rd guess.
I love that movie, man. I don't care. I love that movie. Shout out to Footsteps Falco.
Last one I watched was September 5th Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah, about 72.
Yeah, it was about the 72 the terrorists at the Munich Olympics in 72 as told through the lens of how it was covered on television. So like really there's like movie. A sports media nerd aspect of it that made it very satisfying to watch.
Who starred in that?
Oh, what's his name? Skarsgård is Rune Arledge.
Peter Skarsgård. Yeah.
He's Rune Arledge. That's the only name actor I could give you from that.
The
one.
last movie I watched was Transformers 3.
Okay.
It's a trilogy. That's all I counted as. I don't know if you know with these Transformers movies, there's like a zillion now.
Yes.
I only count the first 3 with Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, I guess I lied because my wife and I and Asher went out to one of my wife's friends from high school invites a bunch of people out to like a potluck every like one Sunday a month. And we try to go when we can. And we went, and they have a bunch of kids that come over, like, ranging in age from 8 to I guess 10 months, and Asher's the youngest. But they had one of the movies with the Minions in it.
Yes.
Despicable Me. One of the I don't know
or
if it was
just
Despicable Me, or it could have been one of just the Minion movie. I don't know. It's like a Minion prequel because at the end, like they meet Gru for the first time. I don't. Somebody help me.
Yes,
on the
Minions prequel.
Somebody help me on the text line 785-272-9429. Somebody help me in the YouTube comments. What is a minion? Is this like an animal type creature? Are they like dumb adults that just happen to be yellow? Are they children? Are they childlike? Like, what are we dealing with? What is a minion? Please help me.
That's a great question.
I'm going to have to know this stuff.
My brain's going to hurt if I think about this.
I'm going to have a child who's going to want to watch those movies someday.
Yes, you will. They're very popular.
And I want to know. I don't want to be sitting there and leaning over to Abby and being like, so it's like these dumb kids or like dumb adults. Like what's the, because they don't like they talk funny and they're always getting into madcap adventures. Like
it seems like a pretty sick life, honestly, if you're a minion.
Paul says they're a talking corn nugget with pants. In a YouTube comment. Not the kind of help I was looking for, Paul, but thank you.
But technically correct.
Technically correct. Anyhow, we got Mock Draft Monday coming up. We're going to do some transfer portal talk. Surprising development, to say the least, for KU over the weekend with the return of Flory Bidunga. And some news breaking today for K-State. 1 defection and 1 addition in the transfer portal. We also got What Is Wrong With You coming up as well. Yep. I got to do this. It is the Choose Your Trip contest going on right now here on 580 WIBW. You go to our website, 580WIBW.com, and there is a prominent display for the listen to win a trip to anywhere in the U.S. You choose your trip, and you click on that page to choose your trip, and it lets you enter a keyword. And, well, where do you get the keyword? You get them from me. You get them from me every day, every hour. Not every day, every hour, just while we're on the air. Anyhow, today, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to have keywords for you. And you go during this hour and you put in the keyword, and that gives you a chance to get entered and registered for your chance to win a trip anywhere in the U.S. This hour's keyword is photo. PHOTO, photo. So go to 580WIBW.com. Don't do the Scott Van Pelt voice. Not you either. That was for both of you.
Oh, man. So, I can't hear a word ending in O without wanting to do it.
So go to 580WIBW.com. There's a contest link. Listen to win a trip to anywhere in the U.S. and enter the keyword photo anytime this hour. From now, you have an hour until 4:59:59, and that gives you a chance to get registered. We'll give you a new keyword at 5 o'clock. So the Choose Your Trip 2024 here on 580 WIBW. Let's get to Mock Draft Monday.
Let's do it.
Finally here, Mock Draft Monday. Next 3 Mondays here on the program at 4 o'clock sharp. We're going to do, well, not 4 o'clock sharp, but at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. 4 o'clock sharp is the news. We're going to do Mock Draft Monday. And what we have today, 2 esteemed writers from the Kansas City Star.
Both friends of the program.
Both friends of the program. Jesse Newell, very good friend of the program. Blair Kirchhoff, Hall of Famer, have submitted their 7-round mock drafts. Now, these do not include trades or anything like that. So these are the 8 picks that the Chiefs currently hold in the 2025 NFL draft. And they have gone down the list and they have made their picks. Who do we give the leadoff spot to? Jesse Newell's draft or Blair Kirchhoff's draft?
I was wondering, should we go draft by draft, or should we do like, here's the first round for each, which one do we like better?
Let's do that. Let's do
do a little head-to-head here.
Yeah, let's do a little head-to-head here. Mano v mano.
All right, so let's start.
Hand versus hand. Yeah, sure. Mano y mano.
Do you mind if I take the reins here?
Go for it.
So let's start first-round pick. And again, as Dan mentioned, no trades here. So it's pick number 31, second to last of the first round. Jesse went with Nick Scourton, edge rusher from Texas A&M. Blair Kirchhoff went with Walter Nolan, interior defensive lineman from Ole Miss. And you think, wow, Matt Verderame mentioned those names. Yes, he did. And we'll have another one of the names that Matt Verderame mentioned coming up here in just a few moments. So those are the first round picks. Edge from A&M, interior lineman from Ole Miss. Which of those picks do you like better?
I think for the sake of the Chiefs don't really have anybody other than Chris Jones at the position right now, I like the Walter Nolan pick better. I am really leaning towards the Chiefs going defensive tackle at 31. And that's not to say that there aren't some edges. Like Nick Scourton led the Big Ten in sacks the sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
He can get after it. He played at Purdue, and then he transferred to Texas A&M. Like, I think he can get after it. I think he can be an impactful edge rusher, or as impactful a guy as you're going to find at that spot in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that the Chiefs need to start looking at their defensive tackle position, and they need to start, maybe thinking about what that's going to look like as Chris Jones's production starts to inevitably erode as he ages. Who's going to be the guy that can learn from him? Who's going to be a guy who can be a 3-down type of guy who can contribute both against the run and in the pass game? Walter Nolan, to me, is somebody who fits that description. And I like going with that position and drafting a guy, because I don't know Nick Scourton starts. Or I don't know that there is an edge that you can get at 31. That's a day one starter. I think you could start Walter Nolan next to Chris Jones next year. I think you might have to, frankly, given currently have on the roster at that position. So I would lean in Kirchhoff's favor here. I like Nolan at 31 better.
I would agree with that. I think that you'd rather have some guy to be next to Chris Jones, because what we know about the defensive line in particular across the league is the defensive line, for the most part, is a rotating cast of characters. And you have multiple guys on the outside, right? Specifically on that, right side, you'll have two guys going back and forth between George Karlaftis and Charles Menahue, who can move Menahue or Karlaftis around, but you need another guy behind both Mike Pennell and Chris Jones, even aside Chris Jones at that point, because there's not a lot of depth there, and I don't think Jerry Tillery I don't have much high regard for him.
Yeah, and he's a rental. Like, he's an okay player, but that's 1 year. You're looking long term here. I would go with Nolan as well. I don't love Scourton, all things considered. We'll touch on more on him when we get to the second round picks in a moment as well. But Walter Nolan's got some pass rush juice. As much as I love Kenneth Grant from Michigan, you've heard me talk about him, he's going to be more of a run stuffer. He's not totally useless against the pass, but he's a run plugger. Nolan, I think, has got a little more pass rush juice. I have read, I don't know this myself, but I have read that there are maybe some questions about motor. The Chiefs are one of the few teams in the league who can always get the best out of those guys. Like, I'm thinking Chiefs, I'm thinking Eagles, maybe Pittsburgh, as like those guys are going to fix motor problems. So I like that a lot more than I like Scourton. Point for Blair Kirchhoff. Second round picks, number 63, second to last pick of the second round. Jesse Newell goes with Ariante Ursary from Minnesota. This has been kind of a hot name recently. And in the second round, Blair Kirchhoff goes with edge rusher Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. So Ursary kind of has become a bigger name in the last couple of weeks when it comes to the draft process. I liken him a little bit to Kingsley Suamataia. Not necessarily the exact same kind of player, but a guy who a lot of folks would say, yeah, I'd be willing to take him late first round, but he's probably more of a second round player. That was like my exact read on Suamataia last year, and that's how it worked out for the Chiefs. Sawyer, Dan, I'll let you start here again, because I know you have some strong thoughts about Jack Sawyer.
Well, I'm a little concerned about his size at 6'4", 260. With the shorter arms, like I don't know how he's going to win a lot of one-on-ones in the NFL. He strikes me as kind of a motor guy, and the Chiefs already lean pretty heavily on one motor guy in George Karlaftis. The other thing about Jack Sawyer that's important to remember is that when Michigan beat Ohio State 13-10 at Ohio Stadium this past season, a thing that really happened in a game where Michigan threw for 62 yards, and Ohio State was good enough to go on and win the national championship in the college football playoff, and they lost to Michigan 13-10 at Ohio Stadium on senior day for Jack Sawyer and others, meaning that Jack Sawyer never got a pair of gold pants. He never beat Michigan. And Jack Sawyer, after the game, made sure that he was the somebody better hold me back guy. And they're going to plant their flag on my field. They're not going to do it. They're not going to plant the flag on their field. So Jack Sawyer, fake tough guy. I'm out on him.
I also think he is a fake tough guy.
Yes.
But that being said, the reason, I like Jack Sawyer in the second round more than I would like Nick Scourton in the first round. He got better every year. And fake tough or not, and again, I agree with you on that. Sack totals went up, pressure totals went up, forced fumbles went up year after year after year while he was at Ohio State. I don't think he can be a 10 sack a year guy every year. I don't. So I'd prefer him third round or later. But in terms of a rotational guy, I'd be okay with it. I would probably lean Ursery here, though. I'd rather go with the offensive lineman here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I think that personally, I know it's probably a need, but I don't think you need to go first and second on the offense or the defensive line.
Mhm.
It's a need, but it's like there's better prospects there, most likely.
Let's move to the third round here. So the Chiefs have 2 picks in the third round. One is the third pick of the round. One is, again, near the very end. Jesse Newell goes Shamar Turner, defensive lineman from Texas A&M, and then wide receiver Tez Johnson from Oregon. Blair Kirchhoff has Anthony Belton, offensive tackle, North Carolina State, and Jalen Royals, wide receiver, Utah State. Spencer, which of those hauls in the third round do you prefer?
I like Jesse Newell's better.
Okay.
I think you get another interior defensive lineman that you're going to need because Chris Jones is aging and Mike Pennell is Mike Pennell. Like you get guys for the future there. I think that's big, and you get a third round receiver talent like Tez Johnson. I like him over Jalen Royals.
So Royals is a major, and I know this because I follow and know a bunch of people like this. He's a major draft guy crush, like the dudes who just inhale stolen all 22 college tape. Those dudes love Jalen Royals. I like him better than Tez Johnson in the NFL for this reason. Tez Johnson was awesome at Oregon. He is a tiny little baby of a player in terms of stature. He measured at the combine 5'9", 154. You know what that turns into in the NFL? Roadkill. I don't think the Chiefs, if they were going to take a receiver in the first 3 rounds, I don't think it makes sense to take a guy who is that small. I like Royals enough. I'm not obsessed with him like some draft folks are. I would prefer someone a little bit bigger who moves pretty well still. So I would probably prefer Royals in that spot. And I don't know about Shamar Turner. I'm kind of up in the air. I could go either way.
Feels like a tweener to me.
I mean, it essentially comes down to this. If you took an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds, not a defensive player, you have to get a defensive player in the third round. If you went all defensive focused, defensive tackle focused, and edge focused in the first 2 rounds, you have to get a lineman in the third.
Right.
You need to maximize talent at those spots.
Yeah. The thought process is the same, right? 2 guys for your defensive line, somebody for your offensive line, and then somebody who helps your skill positions out. Tez Johnson was super productive.
So productive.
Super productive. And a lot of times in the mid rounds, I am inclined to say, look, go get me the guy who put a bunch of like winning plays and scoring plays on tape. Don't go get me the combine guy. Don't go get me the measurable guy. Get me the guy who went and made a bunch of plays. So that would be my lean toward Johnson, but I understand that Royals is an enticing prospect for his own reasons. And he does sound like the kind of player who does really well to find space, beat zones, make things happen underneath. And that sounds like a very Chiefs kind of pick, maybe more so than Tez Johnson would be.
I would be more favorable toward Johnson if he ran faster than a 4.5. Like when you're that small, you've got to be fast. And that does worry me a bit. All right, 4th round. Both writers at the Kansas City Star, Jesse Newell, Blair Kirchhoff, of the same mind in this one. Running back, both of them in the 4th round. For Jesse Newell, Bishul Tootin. Yes, Tootin. That is his last name. Running back, Virginia Tech. Blair Kirchhoff, Devin Neal, running back, Kansas. I'm not going to waste your time. You know who I would pick here. I'm going Devin Neal. Tootin is fascinating, Dan, I think for you in particular, because what did you mention last week when we were talking draft? When the Chiefs go for running backs, they go for dudes with blazing speed. The speed score, that takes a couple of different things into account. Tootin is fast. He is blazing quick on his feet.
Ran a 4.32 at the combine, and if you go to his NFL.com prospect page, you know who the NFL comp is? It's Isaiah Pacheco. So you want to talk about maybe being a little bit on the nose for the Chiefs do have a type. And I think they need speed. I think that they have lacked a speed element. I think Devin Neal is a great football player.
Mm-hmm.
I do. And if the Chiefs ended up with him, maybe they trade. Like, I don't think he's going to last to the 7th round. So I think if they were going to take him, it would have to be here.
Yeah.
Or, with the picks that they currently have. Who knows? And maybe they trade into the 5th round or trade back out of the 4th and Neal's there in the 5th and they like him. I don't know. But for me, I think the Chiefs ought to be prioritizing some speed somewhere in those skill positions. And Tootin can pick them up and put them down. So that would be my lean there.
The Chiefs, and we talked about this the other day, too. Like, it comes down, I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been someone on the YouTube comments asked, who do you think goes first, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal? It just comes down to fit, I think, because there are so many good running backs, like Matt Verderame said earlier, like we've said on this show. So many good ones. It just comes down to flavor, to fit, things like that. And as much as I would love to see Devin Neal play in Kansas City, it's probably not the perfect fit. If you want speed, and I think the Chiefs need it, I agree with you, then Tootin probably fits a little bit better here. Spencer, do you agree?
I think he does, but like,
I do think Neal's a better player overall.
My thing is like, yeah, this is what we do. This is the Chiefs. We like players like that. The comp is, well, how has he turned out? Right? Like, is he really a guy that you're going to want a second contract with? To me, the answer is no. I think you go Devin Neal.
I think that's a fair thing to say that Pacheco probably doesn't get a second contract, but how many running backs get second contracts? Like, what kind of running back do you have to be to get a second contract?
Well, the funny thing about it,
Barkley didn't even get a second contract.
Well, that's because the Giants GM didn't know what he was doing.
That's true. The funny thing about it, though, is like, okay, you're not getting Isaiah Pacheco on a second contract, but if this guy's comp is Isaiah Pacheco, you're getting kind of the second contract, just staying younger. It's kind of an
you're re-racking Isaiah Pacheco.
Right. Do we want to re-rack him, though?
Well, I think we want to be careful about not letting the way 2024 ended color what we saw from Pacheco his first 2 seasons as a Chief, which was really solid.
All right. Chiefs have no picks currently in the 5th round. They have no picks currently in the 6th round. Let's move on to round 7, where the Chiefs are making 3 picks. They're going to make the last pick of the draft for now, as it is as well. So Jesse Newell, he's going
to be Mr.
Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. I almost said Mr. Unlimited. Poor Russell Wilson.
So Jesse is going with offensive tackle Jared Christian Lichtenhahn from Oregon State, had previously been at Colorado. Cornerback Melvin Smith from Southern Arkansas. If that's not the most Brett Veach day 3 pick ever, I don't know what is.
Right.
And then for Mr. Irrelevant, he goes Bryce Cable-Dew from Kansas. Blair Kirchhoff, his picks are Jason Marshall Jr., corner from Florida, day 3 cornerback. Offensive lineman Joshua Gray from Oregon State. And then linebacker Nick Martin from Oklahoma State. I'm going to go first with this one. I prefer Jesse's pick here, and not just because Bryce Cable-Dew, although I do, think he's a good 7th round flyer. I kind of like the idea of just throwing numbers at offensive tackle in the 7th round. If you got 3 picks, why not? You get the day 3 cornerback as well. We know the Chiefs are not afraid to go the D2 route on day 3 with corners. You know how I know? Because Josh Williams from Fayetteville State is on the roster. Melvin Smith again from Southern Arkansas. And I just don't really love the group that Kirchhoff has here. Like, Nick Martin, again, is tiny. He is 5'11", 221. Again, if you're an inside linebacker in the NFL, you're roadkill if you're 221. Like, I don't know that size can play even with good speed. So I would go with Jesse's 7th round group here.
I would lean with Blair's because I think Jesse's is too offensive line heavy. I don't think you go with 3 tackle prospects, and I don't think Christian Lichtenhahn can play. I saw him at Colorado. He was some of Deion's Louis luggage that first year at CU. And
yes, you saw him in person.
Yeah. Couldn't block a soul. He's big. Like, he's one of those where you look at him, he's 6'7", every bit of it. And you think, yeah, maybe there's something there. Maybe he's a 7th round flyer and being too hard on the kid. But for me, I like the diversity. I totally agree with the idea of bringing in a day 3 corner. It's what the Chiefs do. They almost certainly will again in this draft. Let me make the argument for Nick Martin. And it's the same argument and kind of alluded to with the Tez Johnson, Jalen Royals debate.
Sure.
Nick Martin made a lot of plays in college. A lot of plays.
True.
And undersized, sure. There have been a lot of great linebackers who were undersized. Now, I'm not saying Nick Martin is Sam Mills or Zach Thomas, like just because small and linebacker, but guys who make a bunch of plays like that, who find ways to overcome what are their limitations in college and be playmakers, they find ways to do it in the NFL too. Even if it's just as a core special teams guy, or maybe somebody who, given his size, maybe you reimagine his role. Maybe he looks more like a safety in the pros than he does at linebacker. But yeah, give me a guy who flashed on tape. Give me a guy who made a bunch of plays, winning plays for his team. So I like Blair's Hall. I think I also like the fact that they've got some different positions. You've got an interior offensive lineman there, and you got a linebacker. Fleshes out the class a little bit.
It's so funny that everyone knows the Chiefs will take a 7th-round cornerback. It's very funny. Real quick, Spencer, your 7th round would be?
It's got to be Blair's. There's no, like, I get you're trying to throw darts at the left tackle position to see who fits, or maybe a replacement for Jawan Taylor at right tackle eventually, but you don't need to draft 3 guys in one draft and 2 in the same round. I got to go with Blair's.
I think I'm taking Blair's overall here. I think that gets my overall win here. I'm raising his hand as the champion of Mock Draft Monday.
Yeah, I like his first round pick better. There's not much difference in the middle rounds for me. I think I like Jesse's 2nd and 4th round picks better. I might be inclined to call it a draw, to be honest. I might be inclined to score at a stalemate.
Spencer?
I'll take Blair's in this one.
That's a good one. Jesse likes to go with the off-the-wall picks, but he's been pretty good at this the last couple of years.
He really has. He really has. That concludes Mock Draft Monday here on 580 Sports Talk. We're going to take a timeout, come back with our first round of What is Wrong with You of the Week here on 580 WIBW. So what is wrong with you time here on 580 Sports Talk? 2 news stories compete to open the week, brought to you by our guy Mo. Ryan Mowinkle, State Farm agent, Mowinkle Insurance and Financial Services. Give him a call today, 785-273-1572. You guys have the stories today. Brendan, I'll let you lead off.
All right, we've got boating drama today. 40-year-old Florida man, I got to get his name here. The Brock Horner, that is our gentleman. 40-year-old Brock Horner was allegedly filmed pulling up alongside and unlawfully boarding another man's boat amid a heated confrontation.
Nah, you can't board another man's boat.
And Horner has now been arrested. The footage shows a man who referred to himself as, quote, the best charter captain you'll ever meet, arguing with a younger fisherman and then climbing into the victim's boat to demand an apology in Punta Gorda, Florida, back on April 1st. No, this was not an April Fool's joke. On April 4th, the Punta Gorda Police, as well as the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, you don't want to mess with those people, as well as the Coast Guard, also don't want to mess with them, announced that Horner had been taken into custody and charged with burglary with assault or battery, non-forced entry. I never wanted to post this video in the first place because it made me feel so weak, but I was already having a horrible day, and this iced the cake, said the original uploader, Gage Towels. We can assume the other fisherman. I look at it now like I possibly can save another person from Brock Horner or possibly someone's life by getting this captain off the water. According to the police, the department's investigation involved reviewing video evidence and interviewing those present during the confrontation before they issued the probable cause arrest warrant for Horner. Investigators say that Horner unlawfully boarded the victim's boat without permission before threatening the victim and escalating the situation into a criminal offense. This type of behavior will not be tolerated, according to Police Chief Pam Smith. We are committed to ensuring the safety of our residents and visitors, both on land and in the water. So we don't really know why this happened originally until we got some further investigating from WTVT TV, who was able to see the footage. TVT-TV. So a man can be heard approaching the victim about a previous encounter. He claimed the victim was cussing me out on a different occasion, while the victim argued that Horner ran through the middle of the bridge while he was fishing at an earlier date. The argument transitioned to the captain complaining about the victim's boat lights, while the victim asked him to, quote, get the bleep out of here. During the encounter, the captain then brought up his own military service, then called himself the best charter captain you will ever meet, climbed into the other man's boat, and demanded an apology.
I believe this went viral over the weekend.
It did, yes. The man also
I think I saw the video.
The man also at one point says, do it again and watch what the bleep happens.
I love this detail. The younger boater attempted to drive away as the suspect continued to threaten him before asking him to bring him back to his boat. Like, that's the whole thing about you. You jump on somebody else's boat, and what are you going to do? You walk away? Like, yeah, man. And that's what I think of you.
No,
now,
brother.
Kindly return me to my own vessel, please.
You can swim, brother. Love some boating drama.
All right, I got the other story here on What Is Wrong With You, brought to you by Ryan Mowinkle. Let's go back to Florida, Brooksville, Florida. Hernando County man has been arrested after deputies say they believe he was under the influence of a controlled substance when he fell asleep in the drive-thru of a Taco Bell.
Whom among us?
Crashed into a parked car when he woke up.
Oh, no.
According to the Hernando County Sheriff's Office, a concerned citizen called 911 Tuesday about a reckless driver. The caller told deputies that he followed the man to a Taco Bell where the driver fell asleep in the drive-thru while waiting for his order. After waking up and getting his food, deputies said the driver, who was later identified as James Christopher Powell, tried to leave the parking lot but struck a parked vehicle. He was arrested for DUI because deputies believed he was under the influence of a controlled substance. He also had a no bond warrant out of Pasco County for violation of probation.
So
this was also in broad daylight.
Yeah,
Yes.
They got pictures of this guy doing the
This was in
sobriety
the afternoon.
test. And yeah, the sun is what highest point in the sky.
This dude is zooted.
Yeah, man, they got him. They got a very unflattering picture of this guy trying to look the cop in the eye.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Man, he is on a different planet, man.
This is incredible. I got to throw this up in the YouTube. We're going to throw this up in the YouTube 580 Sports Talk channel. gotta find the image. You gotta give me a second here. But yeah, this man is not doing great. There he is. He's up there in the YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, he you can just see his eyes are all glassed over. He's leaning forward really far. I'm amazed
like
he's
he's
actually
gonna tip
keeping his
over.
balance in this photo.
That
We try not to make it, Ty goes to the picture or video since we're predominantly an audio medium, but I'm going to actually vote for our Taco Bell toker, as Vance on YouTube puts it. I think the voting drama is really funny, but this dude is sauteed.
Yeah.
Paul says his brain is in taco hell.
Fact.
He had a look on his face like me when my wife's trying to explain to me what just happened on Grey's Anatomy.
So this 12-year-old is a superhero, and she pulled staples out of her arm and is fine.
Can't do the medical dramas.
That's
man.
when I stopped watching that show in season 1 or whatever.
It got renewed again.
Oh, yeah.
I
It will never go away.
That and Law and Order SVU.
Someone posted on social media this weekend which one, who will be in the game longer, Meredith Grey or LeBron James? Great question at this point.
Outstanding question. That is going to be our What Is Wrong With You champion, the Taco Bell toker. He will move on to tomorrow on What Is Wrong With You. Again, brought to you by Ryan Mo Winkle. See what Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services can do for you. Give him a call, 785-273-1572. Flory Bidunga is not going anywhere. He ain't bleeping leaving if he posted the video from Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, it's the Wolf of Wall Street. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be a Jayhawk. We'll talk about it next on 580 Sports Talk. 446 on 580 Sports Talk. More than halfway home on this 3-hour edition of the program. With you until 6 o'clock before we hand things off to Royals baseball. We'll talk a little more baseball coming up in the 5 o'clock hour of today's show. How shocked were you when you heard the news yesterday that Flory Bidunga had made up his mind and would return to Kansas for his sophomore season? I was startled. Even though there had been some folks who know things, like folks in the know had said, look, KU is still in this. There's still a possibility that Flory returns. It's them or it's Auburn. The broad assumption was that Auburn was prepared to, let's be honest about it, cut a substantial check and lure the promising big man away from Lawrence and into the SEC for next year. But if we know anything about college basketball, these college basketball programs, did you ever see the show Arrested Development?
Yes.
Okay, so you understand what I mean when I say there is always money in the banana stand?
Mm-hmm.
There is always money in the banana stand. And KU went to the banana stand, and they found some money, and they came up with something amenable to both Flory and Flory's handler. And Flory Bidunga is going to be back at KU next year. And between that and the commitments of both Jaden Dawson and Trey White out of the transfer portal over the weekend, all of a sudden this roster's taking really nice shape around Bucket Jones for 2025-26.
You've got dudes who can really defend, who are going to play hard, who aren't terrible shooters. They're not elite shooters. You know, Trey White's going to make about a third of his. Really good corner three guy, which is valuable. Jaden Dawson as well, not an elite shooter, but good enough. Good drive and dish open look guy. You've got a guy who should be in the, on the short list for National Player of the Year as a freshman in Darren Peterson. And now you've got Flory, who's going to block a ton of shots, and he's going to catch a bunch of lobs for dunks and hopefully get some easy layups too, rebound the ball well. I mean, there's a lot to like about how this roster is shaping up. Now, there are still some spots that need to be filled, and our guy Michael Swain has a good write-up about it over at fog.net. He'll join us on the show tomorrow to talk about it. But you suddenly went from last week, oh my God, this is a disaster. Is it time for Bill Self to pack it in, to, oh, this actually looks really good. You're still a starter short, but you could go with a big wing. You could go with another guard. You could go with someone who's more of a true four. I mean, there's a lot of options here. Looks like a lot of versatility. And the thing that I'm most happy about is that there are some dogs on this team, which KU was missing last year. KU's dogs per 40 was lacking severely. And I did not give that enough credence.
KJ and Zeke when they were at home, and that was about it.
Yeah, and KU needed more than that, and I think has added more of that through the portal. And Flory coming back opens things up on both ends quite a bit down low. So it's shaping up. I don't think this is going to be hailed as, portal class of the year like it was last year. I don't think KU wants it to be. This should be about fit. This should be about toughness. And that's what's going to be most important when you've got a star like DP Bucket Jones, who's going to be running the show.
Yeah, that's got to be the understanding from anybody who comes in from the transfer portal. Look, we've got our dude. You've got to fit in around him. It's why I think there's been some speculation, I know, about R.J. Lewis, who was Big East Player of the Year for St. John's last year. And there's been some speculation about him and Kansas out there. I don't think I'm stepping on any toes.
No. That's legit.
That's pretty well documented that there's some interest there. But is R.J. Lewis going to be okay not being the guy? Because
great question.
Jaden Dawson's okay not being the Jaden Dawson doesn't have to be the guy. He understands he's transferring up. He doesn't have to be the guy. He has to do what he's good at. Trey White has never been the guy. This is going to be his fourth school.
Did you know he committed to KU as a sophomore in high school?
Yeah, freshman.
2019. Maybe it was freshman. Yeah, 2019. He committed to KU, eventually flipped, and now full circle coming back.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Full circle moment for him. But yeah, you don't bring him in thinking, oh, I got to be the man. I got to get my 15 a game. I got to get my touches. I got to get my shots. No, like, I'm a complimentary player, and now in this system, I got to be the best complimentary player I can be. So for me, I don't know that there's another star necessarily. And now you need like a starter, but I think that the way that things have unfolded for KU to date, really promising. And it is. I think the fits are really good. They need a backup for Flory. That's something that they really need. But
Yes.
I'm excited to see what he can do year 2 as a Bill Self big man. Like we already got to see a lot of that with some of the younger big men in recent years. They've all left after, I mean, obviously Udoka stayed around. We saw what that became. And David McCormick stuck around. And we saw what that became. But like, we never got to see year 2 of Ernie Uday in a Bill Self system.
Or Zuby, who has turned into a really good player.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want to see, especially somebody who's so raw but so physically gifted, I want to see what that can look like in year 2. I'm really excited.
One note about Dawson, which I think is relevant. Our guy Triple G mentioned this online the other day. Texas Tech and Iowa State wanted him. That, if you're talking about we want to be tougher, we want dogs out there, you get a guy who TJ Otzelberger and Grant McCaslin were after. I think that's significant.
Oh, for sure.
One other guy that KU is reportedly interested in also has interest from Kansas State.
I'm glad you asked this because the texter from the 785 has brought him up as well.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about, that happened. David Castillo had interest from both, at least at one point.
Yeah.
The interesting thing here is that the player is Nigel Pack, who also went to Kansas State for 2 years before he transferred to Miami. I don't know what the interest is. I do believe there is legit interest on the KU side. I'm also fairly confident with even less intel that K-State would be interested again. More K-State news, by the way, in headlines today. I think that's fascinating. If I'm Nigel Pack, to be completely honest with you, I'm going back to K-State. I'll just be completely blunt with you. I think for a lot of reasons that makes sense. He wasn't chased off. He wasn't one of those guys on Tang's first offseason team that was chased away.
No, he got what was at the time an obscene NIL offer.
Yeah.
$800,000 in a car? Oh my goodness, that was mind-blowing.
Yeah, now that's like, wow, that's it? You get a starting caliber player for that? Wow, that bargain.
If I had to guess, because the question from the text line from the 785, and again, the text line open 785-272-9429. The question was, does KU get Nigel Pack? I would say of the in-state schools, I would regard it as more likely that he wears purple than crimson and blue next year.
I agree with that. I think he would have a bigger role at Kansas State, which, look, man, you got one more year. Who knows what the pros look like after that, somewhere overseas.
And Pack's a little bit more of a ball-dominant guy. Like, he needs to have the ball in his hand where KU's going to run everything through Bucket Jones.
And that it's an interesting question. Like, if he's at a point in his career, because he missed a lot of last season due to injury, where he says, you know what? I'll play 15 minutes a game and be the backup ball handler. Like, I'll be the sixth man, and I'll play a handful of minutes as the 2 guard next to Peterson. I would love him at KU. I just think for him, last year at college, one last big paycheck, I think K-State probably makes more sense, but I would not complain if he picked KU.
K-State did some portal business today, too. 1 outgoing, 1 ingoing. We'll get to that in headlines. We'll come back, wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Congratulations to the Yukon women national champions in resounding fashion yesterday afternoon. Dawn Staley does not typically have that look on her face on the sideline where I ain't got nothing for that team. Usually South Carolina has the answers. Yeah. They had no answers for a fully realized Yukon Husky team with Paige Beckers and Azzy Fudd and Sarah Strong. Very impressive team. Very impressive run.
Yeah, felt like a team that just they weren't going to be denied. You find those in sports every once in a while. Like, yeah, there's no way this team is going to end up losing. One of my favorite teams, like the 2016 Cubs, like they weren't going to lose that year. They were going to get to the World Series and win it. 2012 Kentucky in men's basketball. That's kind of what this run felt like for UConn through the NCAA tournament. I thought originally, like, teams don't beat South Carolina like that.
No.
Like, even when they lose, like when they lost to Texas this year, it was a close game. It was a real battle. One team did that to South Carolina this year, though. It was also UConn.
Yeah.
Who beat them even worse in the regular season.
Yeah.
Pretty special team.
Yeah. Awesome team.
Paige Beckers is awesome.
Yeah. Great career for Paige Beckers. Well deserved that she goes out as a champion, and more to come from Azzy Fudd next year and from Sarah Strong, who might be like, they're already talking about her. Like, she might be the best ever at UConn. Good.
Yeah. Really
and
talented.
that is no small praise.
Isn't it crazy that Gino, it's like not a redemption story, but the fact that he could still do it. He could still coach.
Yeah. They hadn't won a title in 9 years.
That's what, like to come back after 9 years like that.
And they got back to the top. We'll talk about the men's title game next hour. We'll talk some Royals. We'll lead off with our headlines. One more hour, 580 Sports Talk here on WIBW. Let's get it. Third and final hour on this Monday on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer, the gang's all here with you up on Huntoon Hill on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. Check us out on video. Stream our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. You can also watch us on Facebook at WIBW News. Here until 6, we'll hand things off to the Royals Baseball Network. Royals and Twins opening a 4-game series tonight at the K. First pitch for game 1 at 6:40. If you'd like to hear instead the national championship game tonight between Houston and Florida, no worries. We've got that for you too. Over on our sister station, the big 94.5 Country, as Houston and Florida meet for the men's basketball national championship. Pregame coverage there starting at 6 as well. So a full night of sports on the WIBW AM and FM dials. And we look forward to talking about those games, previewing those games with you here on this final hour of 580 Sports Talk. Excuse me. We've also got our 580 Sports Talk headlines to get to in this final hour as well. So very glad that you are hanging out with us. You can interact with us in the live chat. YouTube today. Jump in that live chat, either in the app or on your web browser. Interact with your fellow listeners and, of course, with your host throughout the show. You can also text the program. The text line number 785-272-9429. We did have a texter from the 785 ask, we were talking transfer portal, and we'll get more into that here in just a little bit, was asking about the status of UCF's Keyshawn Hall. He committed to Auburn a few days ago.
Yes, he did.
He is off everybody's board. He is going to go to Auburn.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Good player.
It's time for another keyword for the Choose Your Trip 2024 sweepstakes. Would you like to win a trip anywhere in America?
Yes.
I want to win a trip.
I would like that too. You, Spencer, and you, Brendan, are not eligible.
Darn.
But you listeners out there, you're eligible to win a trip as long as you can get registered to win. And the way you get registered to win is you get this keyword that I'm about to give you.
Hey, if you're at home, beware. Something might go off.
What?
The keyword.
Oh, the keyword. Okay. I did not. I hadn't even looked at it yet. I'd be completely honest with you. Anyway, website, 580WIBW.com. There's a link on the front page to choose your trip to the contest. It takes you to the landing page where you enter the hourly keyword. This keyword is good for the hour of 5 o'clock on this Monday, April 7th. And the keyword is Alexa. I hope I maybe set yours off if you're at home. No, Alexa is the keyword for this hour. So again, 580WIBW.com. Click on the front page link that says listen to win a trip to anywhere in the U.S. and you put that keyword in this hour. It's only good till the end of this hour. The keyword is Alexa. And once you've entered the keyword, it gives you a chance to register and get into the contest to try and win a trip to anywhere in the U.S.
Anywhere. I can finally go to Portland, Maine.
Yes. Sure.
Sweet. I actually was looking up a beach vacation in Maine the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was looking for a little late summer getaway. I need money to do it, so I probably won't be making that trip, but it'd be cool to think about.
The text from the 913 says audio files are cussing everywhere.
I warned. I said something.
You did. We can't say we didn't say something. It's true.
I would like to win a trip anywhere. What if I gave a fake name?
We'd figure it out
eventually.
I mean,
the legalities.
Oh, yeah. I totally won't use a fake name.
Eligibility. I'm reading from the rules. The National 2025 Choose Your Trip. This says 2024 at the top, so I may have inadvertently said 2024 earlier. If I did, I apologize. Open to U.S. residents 18 years of age or older, except employees of all Alpha Media stations. Right off there. I've told the story before about how I won like a 55-inch TV from a contest that my radio station was putting on in Nebraska.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How?
We didn't have a disclaimer like that. They were giving it away at a car dealership. And I was at the remote. I went to the remote the day they were going to give it away. And one of the people who was a salesperson at the dealership had used to work for us. So she was like, "Oh, well, I got to get all you guys signed up." And I said, "Okay." So I put my name on the paper and threw it in the fishbowl. And our guy drew it out. I was the first name out. It was one of those where you had to be present to win. I was present. I was on the radio. So I won the TV. And I'm sure there was some grumbling. And honestly, you switch roles, I'd have been grumbling too. But you know who wasn't actually grumbling? Me when I got that TV hooked up, because it was sweet.
I do have a question. Besides that, have either of you ever won a radio contest before?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I ever won.
No.
I won. I can't remember what it was. I remember exactly where I was when I won it, though. One of the shows I listened to, now it's on afternoons in DC, Grant and Danny. They're giving away Nats tickets for Star Wars Day. My buddy, big Star Wars fan, and it was right around the time he had moved up to DC. And somehow they asked like what the topic was happening on the show about an hour and a half ago. And I was running errand for my mom that day, and I was in the Walmart parking lot. And I was like, "Oh, I was listening earlier. They were talking about whatever." And I won tickets, and that's the first time I've like ever won anything from like a contest standpoint.
There we go.
Yeah, except for driving to DC. So I had to drive to DC to pick up the tickets. The game was a Saturday, but
They weren't open on a Saturday.
They weren't open on a Saturday, and their station is literally 3 blocks from Nats Park. So I had to drive there on Thursday, pick them up, then drive back there on Saturday. Like, that sucks.
According to the official contest rules, some stations around the country owned by our same corporate overlords are using various other names for this contest, such as the Catch Flights Not Feelings giveaway or the Get the F Out giveaway.
Whoa.
Yeah,
we're strong.
Yeah, I don't know what stations in the Alpha Media family are able to use such spicy terminology to refer to this. We're just calling it the Choose Your Trip.
We should have gone with You Be Trippin'.
Could have. I want to know who's tripping with Steve Harvey.
No, I would not enjoy that. I don't need all that Steve Harvey. That's a little too much. I can handle a half an hour of Family Feud. That's it.
Only just a half hour? I can
do the full hour.
I could do 2 episodes.
Yeah.
That's
fine.
I can get them back to back. I've never won anything. I tried when I was like really young. I tried to get on and play. I used to do a show on the afternoons and on KOA. They used to do like every now and again a giveaway called What's in the Can. He would call and like you'd give a number and they'd tell you what was in the can. Sometimes it was Rockies tickets or something autographed. Sometimes it was something useless. But
sometimes you just like checked on Dave from accounting who was in the can.
Yeah. So what's in the can? I still think about what's in the can. Maybe we'll bring that back sometime.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah, we have to bring that back. We have to get some prizes up in here and do that. Anyhow, still to come this hour, as promised. We're going to break down tonight's NCAA National Championship game and the Royals and the Twins series opener. But we begin with our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We begin on the links from K-State Sports. K-State has taken Bernat to her highest point of golf. In case you missed it this weekend, Carla Bernat Escuder, the 29th ranked amateur golfer in the world in women's golf, defeated a star-studded field at the Augusta National Women's Amateur. The first Spaniard and first K-State Wildcat to win the event. She shot 3 rounds of 4 under 68. Now, if you're not familiar, the Augusta National Women's Amateur, or ANWA, if you prefer the abbreviation. ANWA! The first 2 rounds are played at Champions Retreat, which is the golf course that's about 14 miles from Augusta National. And then they cut the field to, I think, the top 30 play Saturday at Augusta. And like the Masters is this week. So the course is set for the Masters. So you're playing Augusta with its fangs bared. And she shot a 4 under 68. She beat Asterisk Tally, that is really that young woman's name, by a shot. She was the first player to shoot in the 60s in all 3 rounds of the event, setting an event record with a -12, a 12 under score for the 3 days. Really, really cool stuff. And she definitely dealt with some nerves. Like you could tell on the back 9 that she was feeling like, oh my God, I'm leading this tournament. I'm leading on the back 9 at Augusta. Like, you could tell it was obvious, but she played through it. She made a tough 5-foot putt to save par in the 18th and win by a shot. Very cool moment for Carla. Very cool moment for K-State golf. by all accounts, she's the best to ever play at K-State, and now she is the Augusta National Women's Amateur Champion. She can play in the next 5 of those, provided she maintains her amateur eligibility. She's also going to play in all of the women's majors this year. So very, very cool stuff. That's my first headline today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, good for her. That's really cool. I saw Gene Taylor post something on social media about how cool and rewarding it is that he got an invitation to go and see the final round, and that's pretty neat. That's really cool.
Yeah, some jobs have really nice perks.
Yeah. I thought his career would have topped out when he did an interview with us at the old AJ's Pizza here in town, but I guess not.
I'm sure it's right up there. I'm sure it's like Augusta, the Big 12 championship, meeting the two of us and having a slice of pizza.
I'll tell you what, man. It's not here in town anymore, so it's not a free ad. I miss AJ's Pizza.
I miss AJ's too. More until I join you.
I wish I could have enjoyed it because I'm a New York style guy.
Very good.
And there's like no New York style in Topeka.
They do. If you're ever willing to make the drive,
they have one in Manhattan.
Yes, it's very good. I went on a date there with my wife one time. Very, very good. My first headline. Why don't we stay with Kansas State, shall we?
Yeah, let's do transfer portal stuff.
It's a two-parter. So we'll start with the second part makes the first part make more sense, I believe. So the initial headline. This from GoPowerCat.com earlier today that Kansas State guard Brendan Housen enters the transfer portal. This came as a surprise. I texted Dan when I saw this news during our respective lunch breaks today and said, hey, had you heard anything about this? Because I was not expecting Housen. And I saw from Ryan Gilbert over at GoPowerCat, some other folks as well, say, of all the guys we thought might leave K-State this year, Housen was pretty far down the list. Started all 33 games, averaged just under 11 points a contest, played about 28 minutes a game, 27 and a half a game. 39% from the field, 39% from three on 90 out of 232 shooting. Not sure what's next for him. He's obviously from, the Southwest. Maybe he'll move to the Mountain West. Maybe can't imagine Texas Tech would be interested, but maybe he'll move down yonder. I was shocked by this, really, because as we know, what does Kansas State need? Shooting, and a lot of shooting.
And he was their best shooter. He was the one guy that you trusted if he shot a three that it was going to go in. Now, he was a little streakier than you would like, but I think you could say that about a lot of guys in college basketball.
I had a thought, and I told this to Dan. I don't think it made a lot of sense, period, when it happened, but it would make a little bit more sense if K-State had encouraged him to explore other options as opposed to him just leaving. Like, dude, you were streaky this year and started every game. You were certainly going to start every game this coming season and hopefully be better going into your senior year. Team needs shooting. You're the best shooter on it. You're going to be fine. But if K-State's perspective was, hey, look, Brendan, we like you, but you do one thing. And if you're not doing that particularly well, like you struggled at the end of the year, you're not really providing us a whole lot. I can understand why maybe they wanted to have him explore some other options. Then, right as we went on the air, I believe today in the 3:00 hour, K-State picked up its first transfer commitment of the offseason with Deshaun London of 24/7 Sports posting Monmouth transfer Abdi Bashir commits to Kansas State, one of the top scorers in the transfer portal. So 24/7's transfer rankings rated Bashir the number 48 overall prospect in the country. He was second in the nation in three-pointers made this season at 127 of them. He's an Omaha guy. He's also going through the NBA pre-draft process, but I think he's coming back to school. So he made a ton of threes. He took the 5th most field goal attempts of anyone in the entire country this past year. He's going to shoot. If you've got someone to distribute, K-State has Doug McDaniel, he is going to take open looks and some contested looks as well. Isaac Trotter of 24/7 wrote, Bashir might be a specialist, but he's got a burner. He made a whopping 127 threes this year, including 10 in a single game against Rutgers. He's only a sophomore, so he's got 2 more years of eligibility. He is not an impactful defender, and he shot just 40% at the rim. So those are the cons. The big worry for me, so he was at Monmouth before, and the Colonial, not a great league this year. He's 6'7". Okay, 6'7" and can shoot. That's awesome. He's 160 pounds. He's almost 15 pounds lighter than I am. 3 inches taller, and he's, I don't have a ton of body fat, but I'm sure I've got more than a D1 athlete. Like, that is rail thin.
Yeah,
and that worries me a little bit in the Big 12.
So, yeah, strength and conditioning is going to have to get a hold of him.
Yes.
And going to have to put some bulk on him for sure. But still, 38% from three with that kind of volume, that is a shooter with a capital S. And
yes.
It sort of feels like they have replaced Brendan Hawson with like taller and younger Brendan Hawson a little bit, because Hawson certainly wasn't giving you anything on defense last year, and a little more stout, but only 6'4", like wasn't doing a lot of scoring inside either. I that's what this one kind of feels like to me. And I don't know if you can bulk him up a little bit, get him a little stronger so that he's not, knocked over by a stiff breeze or pushed out of the paint by Big 12 defenders. I think there's a chance that K-State likes what they get here.
I have two thoughts on this. One, I see the vision with it because, if he can't play defense and there are some other concerns about getting to the rim, you know who also didn't play defense and couldn't get to the rim? Brendan Hausen. Like,
right.
You're getting younger, right? You're getting taller. I can see the
2 years of
it.
eligibility left
Yes.
for Bashir, just one for Hawson.
I think, too, the other point here, I think this plays really well into your idea, Dan, that K-State, with whatever changes they make to the coaching staff, we know Ulrich Maligi is off to Texas.
Yep.
There might be some other changes. Fitz alluded to that when we talked to him last week. This, to me, says, even in more strong terms, K-State could really use an offensive coordinator. You could use someone who's going to put together an offensive game plan, who's going to run a more cohesive system. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here to say K-State's offensive system was not much of a system at all this past year. Like, it was a mess. It was way too Weber-like for my liking personally. If you had someone, though, whose entire thing was we're building an offensive game plan, a la the comparison you made, Jeff Linder at Texas Tech, and we know what they were able to do offensively, I think that would be a great way to maximize a player like Bashir. Now, you're not making a coaching staff hire for one season unless you're like doing it to bring in a 5-star player like Cade Cunningham, right, with his brother. But I do think you could find a way to get more out of a player like this if you had someone on staff who is dedicated to finding more open shots, creating more open looks. So I don't know that this will work, but pencil me down for intrigued by this move.
Yeah. Again, like I said, 38% on that kind of volume means he can really stroke it. And that's what K-State needs, the ability to space the floor. And maybe the 6'7", those 3 extra inches of height can help him become at least a competent defender. Like, they don't all need to be Stacey Augmon, like the Plastic Man. That's a dated reference.
Nice.
You get what I'm saying here. They don't have to be like plus defenders, but they can't be zeros. And there were too many games last year where Hawson was zero on defense. You couldn't play him. He would come off the floor for stretches because he was hurting you more defensively than he was helping you on offense. You have to get Bashir to that level where he does not hurt you in that way offensively. But I think that's a reasonable request for Tang and his staff.
The one thing is K-State is kind of in the same position it was this morning. Like, you still need more shooters.
Yeah. It's a little bit of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, with the chance that what you have with an extra year, an extra 3 inches can be a little bit more. All right, Spencer, you've been waiting all day for this next headline. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Do you mind if I play some audio?
Go for it.
All right. That's courtesy of two of the best in the business. Joe Beninati, Craig Loughlin, the Washington Capitals Call Monumental Sports Network. Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's was once thought as an unbreakable record for goals in an entire career in the same number of games, 1,487, that Wayne set the record back when he set the record for 894. Crazy mob scene. This is crazy. He did the dive that he did after they won the cup, and he was in a fountain in Georgetown. This is just fandom. My fandom was created for hockey by Alex Ovechkin, and the fact that he was able to get to this number is just crazy. And it all started with staying healthy in his career, and he just really never missed a lot of time, except for this year. He broke his leg, and he still has scored 42 goals.
That's
And
pretty incredible.
You break a leg in Thanksgiving and you come back before the year ends, and what he was able to do this year is just crazy. At 39, scoring 42 goals. He's never had a season under 30 goals in his career. Well, he had
that
one
wasn't
season
lockout short.
that was, or COVID. It was COVID.
COVID got
season.
the 2020-21 year. Yeah.
Yes. So he's never had a season besides a asterisk season where they didn't have as many games.
It is remarkable to look at the Hockey Reference page and just see the remarkable consistency. And he never had one of those years like Gretzky had a year where he scored 92.
Yeah.
I think like some of the years for Gretzky look like misprints, but it's a little like where you look at Hank Aaron and who was the home run leader before Bonds. Is 755 home runs, never had a 50 home run season. He never had like a 60 or a 70 home run season. It was just the consistency of all those 40 home run seasons. And for Ovechkin, it's all those 50 goal seasons.
Yeah, I mean, he has the most 30, 40, and 50 goal seasons in NHL history. He has the most power play goals, game-winning goals, and shots on goal in NHL history. And also, since he's been in the league, he is third in hits, behind two guys that I can't remember who they are, but they're guys that were literally paid to be game wreckers, enforcers. Yes, but Alex Ovechkin can hit and score goals. He couldn't play defense very well. That's why if you look at his plus minus in some years, minus 19, minus 35, minus 12, minus 16, minus 22. So
895 goals is the new record. Two things on this. Number one, like you alluded to, when you first learn, if you're like have any passing knowledge of hockey, like even the barest knowledge, the first name you know is Wayne Gretzky, and you know the records. And we thought those were unreachable stars. And to be frank, the assist record and the points record.
Yeah,
nobody's getting there. But you just assume
Sidney Crosby could have if he didn't get hurt as often as he has in his career.
Nobody's getting anywhere near the points in the assist record. I just that's never happening. But Ovechkin ran down the goal record and did it despite missing a year because he was drafted, 03, 04?
He was drafted 04.
Yeah, drafted 04, and that first year wiped out entirely because of the lockout. So he lost a year on the front end. As a 20-year-old rookie, scored 52 goals. So he lost some with the lockout there. He lost some of the lockout short in 2012-2013 season, lost some in the COVID shortened seasons of 20 and 21. And yet, at 39, he's putting up 42 goals. And the other part of this, Spencer, that I have to imagine makes it extra special for you, not just that you don't, like, this is not hyperbole, you do not know the Capitals without Alexander Ovechkin. Because how old were you in 05-06 when he was a rookie?
I was like 8.
Yeah, so you do not know this team without him. And a lot of times when somebody runs down a record like this, they're shells of themselves, right? Like Pete Rose, when he broke Ty Cobb's record, was 46 or however old Rose was in 1986. He was fat. He was only on the team because he was chasing the record. The Reds weren't very good. Like it was a little bit of a slog. Everybody was only there for the one thing, and it took a while and it finally got there. And so many times that's how it goes with these longevity records, that by the time you break them, you're not who you used to be. This is every bit of what Alex Ovechkin has always been. The record-setting goal is a goal that I think I've seen him score 400 times in my life on highlights. The one-timer or the big boomer from the left circle on the power play. And he's still not only great, but he's playing for a great team, a team that's first in the Eastern Conference. So this chase had to be so joyful, Spencer, for you, for not just that's your guy, but this all means something. This is all deeply meaningful for this season, for this player, and for the franchise as a whole. And I know we gave you some grief about it, Spence, but that was pretty damn cool.
Oh, yeah. And I think, too, what means a lot, too, is, like, he's always talked about, like, because he's Russian. He's one of, like, KHL in Russia is the NHL of Russia, and it's where everybody plays. He's talked about wanting to finish his career there. And there was years in 2016, he didn't even think he could do it. And he wanted to finish his career at this point. He thought maybe he'd be in Russia finishing his career. And the fact that the Capitals have retooled while they have two guys that they're paying that unfortunately they can't play because they're
injured, but they're on long-term injured reserve. Yeah.
And that being but one of them being Nick Backstrom, and then the guy that's everybody knows, TJ Oshie, he's America's savior. He won the shootout in the team for Team USA.
Yeah.
But Nick Backstrom, he he's the guy. Ovechkin and Backstrom. That's what I know. That's like the duo. Like they have commercials for them having a lifetime life insurance policy together. Like they're just the duo, and the fact that unfortunately because of the playing in Nick Backstrom's hip, he couldn't be on the ice giving him the assist. It was the world's most hated man, Tom Wilson, who got the number one assist. But Nick Backstrom and TJ Oshie felt like they had to follow them around, and they were there. And
that's pretty neat.
The pure joy that Ovechkin, he spoke on the ice in like a 10-minute ceremony, and he mentioned
it was a little weird to do it in the middle of a game.
Yes, I thought that maybe they would shorten the time of the period, or the intermission, but they didn't. And then seeing him hug each other, like there would be no Ovechkin breaking the record if there wasn't a Nicholas Backstrom.
Yeah, pretty cool all the way around.
And he said so in his speeches and everything he said, and he's like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a guy like Nicholas Backstrom, who's, I think, assisted 200 and something goals.
Historic moment, certainly, in the NHL yesterday. Alex Ovechkin, the all-time leading goal scorer in the history of the league, 895, and more to come. He's not out of contract till next year, so he's not going to rush anytime real soon. One
final comment for me. I do think that they have 107 points right now. They're leading the Eastern Conference, but the last few weeks have just felt like a drag, and they have not been playing well in the last few weeks. I think getting it off their back it's a stressor, right? Like everybody's like, we got to get the puck to Ovechkin. We got to get the puck to Ovechkin. Now it's done, and I think they can recalibrate. They're off until Thursday because they played so many games. And I think that this could be the start of a historic run.
We're not far off from the playoff roundup. Let's just say that. We're not far from the return of the playoff roundup. That'll do it for our 580 Sports Talk headlines. When we come back, the Gators and the Cougars for all the marbles in San Antonio tonight. We'll break it down next on 580 WIBW. .535 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer. Before we get into tonight's national championship game, some news out of the transfer portal. Nigel Pack will not be going to Kansas, nor will he be going to Kansas State.
Nope, he is instead, per most recently Joe Tipton of On3, committed to Oklahoma.
So that's really interesting because I think of his Final Four, he had Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Indiana. And I thought if a reunion didn't make sense at K-State and KU maybe wasn't all the way in. He's an Indiana guy. I thought maybe the Hoosiers made some sense, but Oklahoma is the next and final collegiate destination. I should never say final anymore. He could change his mind in a week.
You know who just entered the portal today? Speaking of never say never out of eligibility.
Who's that?
Tyon Grant Foster.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, I did see that.
What?
Yep. Tyon Grant Foster played for KU in the 20 and 21 season. So he was in JUCO the year before that. So he's got the JUCO waiver.
Tyon Grant Foster is in the same. He played the state championship game for Schlegel, the 5A state title boys basketball game, 2017. I think he was a junior that year. I saw him in that game. You know who else played in that game? NFL veteran Tyler Zentner. Wow. Suited up for the Shawnee Heights team that won it all. Yeah. Wow. No, I reject this. He turns 20. He turned 25 last month. And I know he had the did he get an extra medical because of the health issue? Or no, he's a JUCO guy. So is he getting the bonus?
The JUCO year.
Gets the bonus JUCO years? Yeah. Unbelievable. That is a disaster. Like the NCAA, I know, is entirely toothless. But this idea that, JUCO eligibility isn't the same as NCAA eligibility, or Division II eligibility isn't the same as Division I, they got to put the kibosh on that immediately. That is a joke.
Yeah, I don't agree with it regardless. The D2 versus D1, I mean, it's all the NCAA. Like that should certainly not count. The JUCO one, like, I guess I theoretically get it, but I don't really get it.
No, yeah, I reject it entirely.
I get it more than I get the D2 thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So this will be in total, when he eventually commits to somewhere, the 6th year for Tyon Grant Foster. 1 year at Indian Hills, 1 year at KU, a medical redshirt at DePaul when he nearly died in their season opener, and then 2 years at Grand Canyon.
So there you have it, the latest.
But yeah, Nigel Pack not coming home.
Yeah, Nigel Pack going to Oklahoma, the latest from the transfer portal. Tonight, over on our sister station, the big 94.5 Country, WIBW-FM, the national championship game in men's basketball from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. It'll be Florida and Houston. And I am still not sure I can believe that Houston is playing in this game. I have believed in them all year, but they were down 14 to Duke with 8 minutes left. And credit to Duke for this. They were getting every shot they wanted to get in that game against the best defense in the country. Mm-hmm. They were making the right extra pass. They were getting what they wanted in the half court. Houston couldn't make a shot, and I thought it was over. And I started making plans to hit the hay. But then I remembered, Houston doesn't die easy. Their DNA is not to get run off the floor. And they not only did not get run off the floor, they only allowed Duke to make one shot in the final 10 and a half minutes. And they won that basketball game. To me, it's almost more startling than their twin comebacks on the same night to beat KU at Allen Fieldhouse earlier this year. Those were exceedingly unlikely. And that's like the one place in college basketball you're not supposed to be able to do that is Allen Fieldhouse. But that Duke team looked like a tremendous machine. And they looked so much bigger and stronger, and they were self-assured on offense. And then all of a sudden they weren't anymore. And Houston proved, and I think they're going to prove it again tonight, and I think they're going to win the whole thing. They are the tougher team every single time they take the floor. They are just tougher. They're physically tougher. They're mentally tougher. You might be bigger. You might have better players. You might have the best player on the floor. Duke certainly did. Cooper Flagg was the best player on the floor in that game. Yeah. Most talented guy. Florida, you could argue, has the best player on the floor tonight. Walter Clayton Jr.'s had an unbelievable tournament. But Houston is the tougher team. And that's why I think they're going to win the national championship tonight.
Yeah, I will say, looking, like, watching the down of the stretch of that game, I had flashbacks to being at Allen Fieldhouse, covering that game. And I'm like, this Houston team's going to do it. They're going to pull off this comeback.
You and Hunter Dickinson both, because he put something on Twitter about the same thing. He said, that felt familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Houston's winning this game. I think Houston's a better team. The final thought I have about Duke, and we were talking about this the other day, Dan. We were in full agreement. I guess this was on Friday's show. John Shire has, I think, gotten a lot better as a coach as the year has gone on, certainly from last year to this year, and even from when Duke played against KU to start the season to now when they made it to the Final Four.
I think as a scheme guy, John Shire is maybe even very good.
I agree. The next step for John Shire to be a good coach is to learn that you have to coach for 40 full minutes. They went 2-4 in games decided by 6 or less points this year. Someone put a cut up on social media of the final Duke possessions of those games that they lost, the 4 games they lost by 6 or fewer points. My 4-month-old could have drawn up better plays. Like it was bad. And there were a number of factors going into play on Saturday, and Houston being a large portion of it because they are so tough, they are so good defensively. That's the next step for John Shire. He'll probably win a national championship at some point with Duke's money and resources. Like they'll probably win one at some point.
All I'm saying is he's coached in the tournament 3 times, and one of those times he lost to Rick Barnes, and another time he lost to an 11-seed in-state rival, and another time he lost a 7-point lead with a minute 15.
Wow, he's already been there for 3 years. I guess I was only remembering 2, but yeah, I guess it's been 3 years because it was he took over the year after KU won the national title.
It was the same thing that I saw them do against North Carolina State, was that they panicked. They panicked, and John Shire thought with about 10 minutes left in that game, they had the big lead. He says, all right, let's take the air out of the ball. Let's make every possession take 30 seconds, and we'll just take whatever shot we get at the end. But yeah, we're just going to slow the game down. Mike Krzyzewski used to do this all the time. The time. It's a Krzyzewski thing. Take the air out of the ball, shorten the game. Problem was, when they were a lot better than Houston, they could have just kept running their stuff and getting buckets like they did for the first 32 minutes of the game instead of playing slow down ball, and they might have won by 15. Instead, they lost, and the internet rejoiced. So it's Houston in one corner, it's Florida in the other. Like I said, Houston's going to win. I think they're the tougher team, and I'm not sure how much. I don't like to call it hero ball because that suggests that Walter Clayton is not like a team player or that Florida doesn't have other good players. In fact, I think Florida's strength is they don't have bad players. Like, they don't have any dudes beyond Clayton, but Hawk and Martin and the other big kid, Condon, like, they're all good and they all help their team. They all know what to do, but they're really dependent and have been throughout this tournament on, hey, Walter Clayton, bail us out. Make this tough 3. Like, Auburn had gotten the game back in control on Saturday after Florida made their early second half run, and Auburn had taken a 4-point lead, and Clayton took a terrible 3 in the corner, falling out of bounds with a hands in his face, and it went in. And jump-started Florida to go back in the lead and eventually win the game. And I don't know how he's going to get those shots against Houston's defense. I don't think he's going to.
Right now, up at Prairie Band, if you wanted to swing by the sports book before tip-off at 7:50 tonight, they're open by then. I don't remember the exact hours up at Prairie Band, but I know they're open before 8 o'clock. Right now, Florida is a 1-point favorite. The money line actually just moved since I have started this current comment. It was even money a moment ago. Now it's minus 105. I grabbed Houston actually this weekend at even money. I think Houston's a better team. I really do. I think Sampson's probably a better coach than Todd Golden. Golden has gotten a lot out of that Florida team. I think that Houston's just a better group, to be completely honest with you. So I think the Cougars get there first. Most Final Fours without a national title, by the way.
That's true. Yeah, 7 Final Fours, no titles. They can change that tonight.
I think Houston wins. Also, want to give a shout out. We've got 2 people in our bracket pool: JW Sports 704 and Austin 1209 Fitz. They both correctly picked this game as being the national championship.
Hey,
nobody else correctly picked the national championship. They both one has JW Sports has Florida winning, and Austin has Houston winning.
All right.
Of the teams that actually picked the correct matchup.
Yeah, it would appear that JW will win our pool if Florida wins, and Austin will win our pool if Houston wins tonight. I will win a different pool if Houston wins tonight.
There you go.
And it would be nice. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, Royals Twins tonight here on 580 WIBW. We'll tell you about the pitching matchup and more. But first, a quick word for my friends at Great Life Topeka. We're finally going to get some golf weather after the start of this week. It's going to warm up. It's going to get nice. Leaves are out on the trees. It is golf season. It's Masters week. Everybody's torqued for golf if you're the type of person that gets torqued about golf, and I am one of those people. That's why I'm a member at Great Life, because I love the benefits you get for being a Great Life all-inclusive member, particularly on the golf side, including greens fees, cart rentals, a free large bucket of range balls each day if I want it and can make avail of it. The membership benefits are outstanding, and I encourage you to go to greatlifetopeka.com and see what being a member can do for you. We'll be back right after this 580 Sports Talk. Tonight at the K, the Royals and the Twins open a 4-game series. Everybody chasing the Tigers right now in the American League Central. They were victorious earlier today, beat the Yankees 6-2. So they are 6-4. They're 2 games clear of 500. That's supposed to be against the rules. Don't get too froggy, Tigers. This is the American League Central. Don't start thinking you can play 600 ball all year. It's not how this works. Royals now a game and a half back after Detroit's win earlier today. 4-5, game and a half out of first. Minnesota's 3-6. They were leading the Astros 7-1 yesterday, and they lost 9-7. Give you a bit of an idea of what has gone wrong with the Twins, especially upsetting for the Twins because they finally got their bats going and still managed to lose the game. Twins as a team entered tonight hitting 198 this season.
They're stick a fork in them. They're done. It's over.
Carlos Correa is 4 for 32. Byron Buxton has struck out 11 times in 33 at-bats.
But he's healthy.
He is. He's playing in every game, which is a step in the right direction. Obviously, they don't have Royce Lewis because, the varying maladies that have plagued Royce Lewis. Fun player when he's on the field. He's never on the field. It's a struggling offense that Michael Lorenzen will face tonight for the Royals. Lorenzen making his second start of the season. He wasn't bad his first time out, but and got left in the game too long, frankly, and gave up a couple of runs in the 6th inning, hurt his final line. The lineup for KC tonight, Jonathan India will lead off at third base, Bobby Witt Jr. at short, Vinny Pasquantino at first, Salvador Perez behind the plate, and Michael Massey at second, the usual suspects. Behind them, it's Hunter Renfroe in right field, MJ Melendez working on a 2 for 20 in left field. Maikel Garcia is DHing in this game. I didn't think we'd get to DH Maikel Garcia by game 10.
Yeah.
Just play him at third and DH India. What are we doing here? We overthink it a little bit, Q. Put the good defender in the game. Let Jonathan India play hitter.
Yeah, I agree.
Is his best position. Kyle Isbell in center rounding out the batting order against Simeon Woods Richardson, the right-handed pitcher for the Twins, who is 0-0 with an ERA of 4.5. Lineup tonight for the Twins: Wichita Wind Surge great Matt Wallner leading off in right field. Carlos Correa at short, Byron Buxton in center, Trevor Larnach DHs, Ty France, Royal Killer at first base, Jose Miranda at third, Willie Castro at second, Harrison Bader, team leader in home runs for the Twins, in left, and Christian Vasquez doing the catching.
Matt Wallner 5 years ago would never sniff a spot in the batting order above 4. We've come a long way.
We have. I mean, that's what he does. Like he does. He draws walks and he gets hit by pitches.
Yes, great skill.
At a high volume. Career OBP at 366. Yes, runs like me. He's 6'4", 220.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the leadoff man because what does he do? He gets on base. Keep struggling, team struggling is something that we talk about a lot on this program, an aphorism that we come back to time and again, and that's what Lorenzen and the Royals will endeavor to do tonight at Kauffman Stadium. Again, the first pitch coming up at 6:40 tonight. Pregame coverage coming up in 8 minutes right here on Sports Voice of Kansas, your home for Royals baseball since 1969. It's 580 WIBW and FM 104.9.
You had a chance to watch a lot of Major League Baseball this year, like outside of the Royals?
Here and there.
Yeah.
Here and there. Yeah, not probably the volume that I would have when I was single and childless, but yeah, I've caught a little bit of the Rockies. I watched some of the day games, like at work. I put a day game on. Caught a little bit of the Tiger game today.
Yeah, I watched a lot of Cubs baseball. I had an opportunity to watch Sunday Night Baseball yesterday, and I did not take it because the broadcast is just so bad.
You could have watched the Cardinals get hammered. Might have enjoyed that.
I love that the Cardinals are badly run now. That's something that brings me a modicum of joy. Like, they're badly run. It's not just that they have bad players. Like, organizationally, they are not what they have been known to be.
Something that I love is that one of the dialogues around the league right now, maybe the dialogue, since people have kind of calmed down about the torpedo bats, is the ball juiced? Are they juicing the ball? Are they juicing the balls again? If they are, you'd think the league would be slugging better than 394.
Yeah, batting numbers around the league.
Yeah, the league as a whole slugging like Luis Ariz. That does not suggest that, in fact, the ball is juiced.
Can some more of you guys use the torpedo bat?
Can we put some juiced balls in play, preferably when the Rockies are batting? That would I'd appreciate that.
Not fully baseball related here, but did you see what happened or what was aired after Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN last night?
No, I did not.
They had a rare Sunday night NHL game. The Golden Knights took on the Canucks.
Did not see that.
I saw that come up on the guide, and I was like, I get it's West Coast, but we're doing that after the MLB already hates what's going on. Like, really?
Had I watched that game, it would have been the first hockey game I watched in, I think, 2 years.
We'll take a timeout, come back with the final word after this. Wrapping up the 580 Sports Talk with the final word. Brendan Dworzinski, start us.
I know I'm going to shock you by having another final word be about KU basketball, but remember all last week when I kept telling you things are going to be okay and to take a breath even for a moment when things looked bad? They look pretty good now. You got a superstar coming in who's going to run the show. You've got two strong wings who can shoot it a little bit, play plenty of defense. Oh, and your star big man is back. Again, sometimes it pays to be a little bit patient.
Spencer Dupuis, final word.
Last time you'll hear me talk about this for a while, but Alex Ovechkin now the greatest goal scorer of all time, and I can't believe that happened. I'm still in awe about it, and been lucky enough to see about 10 of those goals in person. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the playoffs for the Caps and maybe a cup run once again.
Final word for me. It is wild that the Royals just became good at developing pitchers. Like it just for years they had Cal Eldred as their pitching coach, and they were bad at it. And now just all of a sudden they're good. Like 2 years later, they're good at developing pitchers. They help their pitchers get better. And Kris Bubic right now is one of the shining examples of that. 2 great starts to start 2025. Hopefully he can keep the momentum going with his next start. That'll do it for us. Royals baseball coming up next here on 580 WIBW. Road to the championship and then the national championship game, Houston and Florida on our sister station tonight, the big 94.5 Country, 94.5 FM. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3. For Brendan and Spencer, I'm Dan. Good night.